Chapter 5146. It was a one-hit kill. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. Dead. Two of the tyrants had actually fallen, and they were killed with a single finger. They felt like they were dreaming. Oh God, who is this young man? He actually did it. Previously, Lin Xian said that the tyrants were no match for his finger. Everyone thought that Lin Xian was bragging. But now it really happened. They knew that the other party really had such strength. Who are you? Overlord Sky Wolf roared. The tyrants were also shocked. Lin Xian stood up. He took a step forward and stood in front of one of the tyrants. Then he slapped him. You're courting death. The tyrants roared. Sky Tyrant Divine Fist. His fist danced and could shatter the galaxy. However, he couldn't defeat Lin Xian's palm. Under this palm, his body shattered and turned into a bloody mist. He no longer existed. Another one died. Countless people were horrified. This guy could kill a tyrant in a second with a single move. It was too unbelievable. Yu Xianzi was also stunned. How was this possible? Previously, she even persuaded the other party to lower his head and admit his mistake. But now, she realized that it was her. She was so wrong. Now, she finally understood why Yunhua was so respectful. The young man in front of her was definitely not an ordinary person. It was very likely that he was a young powerhouse. Kid, tell me where you're from. Otherwise, if you dare to kill me, tyrants, you're dead meat. Overlord Sky Wolf roared crazily. He really wanted to know who the other party was. How dare you scold me? Slap him. After speaking, Lin Xian slapped him. With a smack, Overlord Sky Wolf was sent flying. Half of his face was smashed. He spun in the air and then fell on the deck. Countless arrays flashed. If this dragon boat wasn't carefully built, it would have sunk long ago. But even so, it shocked countless people. The other party dared to hit Overlord Sky Wolf? Overlord Sky Wolf was also stunned. In the next moment, he screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Damn it, how dare you hit me? I'll kill you. I'll make you wish you were dead. He was different from the ordinary warriors of the tyrants. He was a genius of a large clan, and his status was extraordinary. He had always been the one hitting others. No one had dared to lay a finger on her. But now, the other party had actually slapped him in the face, his handsome face. Furthermore, it was done in public. How was he supposed to conduct himself in the future? He wanted to grab the other party and break the bones in his body one by one. Then he would cut him up piece by piece to relieve the hatred in his heart. Charge! Overlord Sky Wolf covered his face and roared. There were 4 other tyrants around him. Hearing these words, they also rushed over. The 4 of them attacked together, and their powerful strength was enough to shatter everything. On the dragon boat, formations flickered, defending against everything. However, the surrounding dragon sea was swept up by a monstrous storm, as if it was going to engulf everything. Lin Xian did not dodge the attacks of these 4 people. Instead, he waved his hand, like an iron chain crossing the river. A crescent moon was drawn, and the 4 palms were all smashed into pieces. He screamed as he was sent flying. Then Lin Xian waved his sleeves and threw the 4 of them into the dragon sea. *CK, this guy is too crazy. He had completely offended the tyrants. Seeing that another 4 warriors had disappeared, countless people exclaimed. Overlord Sky Wolf was also scared out of his wits. He wanted to escape, but in the next moment he was slapped to the ground. The other half of his face was also smashed. The Crimson Dragon jumped up and stepped on the other party. He sneered. Why? Weren't you very arrogant before? You're arrogant now. Damn it. See if I don't trample you to death. The 2 of them stepped on the other party's face crazily while cursing. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. Was this really Overlord Sky Wolf? The young master of the tyrants, the incomparably powerful genius. Why did he feel so miserable? Damn it, save me. They looked at the guards of the Dragon Clan. The guards of the Dragon Clan snorted. Enough, stop! With a roar, heaven and earth shook. A terrifying aura of the Tao of dragons appeared, and even the surrounding formations flickered nonstop. The toad and the crimson dragon stopped, looked ahead and sneered. Who do you think you are? You think I'll stop just because you say so? I won't stop. What can you do about it? The two of them continued to slap faces crazily. The guards of the Dragon Palace were dumbfounded. The other party didn't even dare to listen to their orders. How preposterous! After all, this was their territory. They were courting death. Someone suppressed them. They shouted angrily. The two guards of the Dragon Palace, next to them, formed a seal with their palms. Immediately, the surrounding formations formed a chain. It shrouded the toad and the crimson dragon. Damn it, they still dare to attack? The two of them retreated. Lin Xian grabbed the chain and tore it apart. Then he slapped the two guards of the Dragon Palace. Before the two guards of the Dragon Palace could react, they were slapped to the ground and screamed in pain. Half of their bodies were also smashed. The surrounding people were stunned. Where did this ruthless person come from? He even dared to hit the people of the Dragon Palace? Yu Xianzi's mind was blank. She was as stunned as a statue. The leader of the guards shouted angrily, "You're courting death. Do you believe that I'll throw you into the sea to feed the fish?" As he spoke, he took out a small flag and kept waving it. The 6 formations around him flickered as if they were going to swallow Lin Xian. Lin Xian's figure flickered. He used Shadowless Heaven's net and instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the leader of the guards. He grabbed at the leader of the guards with one hand. "How dare you?" The leader of the guards frantically tried to resist. However, in an instant his neck was gripped and he was nailed in midair. He felt that he couldn't use the strength in his body. The other party's strength was too terrifying. Why couldn't he resist at all? "Try touching me if you dare." He gritted his teeth with difficulty. He still didn't believe that the other party would dare to attack him in his territory. Lin Xian sneered. "I'll grant you your wish." He waved his hand and broke one of the guard's arms. The guard screamed in pain, and the arm was completely deformed. The leader of the guards let out a miserable cry. He gritted his teeth and was about to shout angrily. However, his other arm was also broken. He broke out in cold sweat. This was a misunderstanding. "Let me go and I won't pursue the matter." How about that? Faced with this situation, she had no choice but to beg for mercy. The surrounding people were also shocked. Heavens, is the people of the Dragon Palace also begging for mercy? She's the master of the dragon boat. Is someone trying to turn the tables? The other guards of the Dragon Palace also rushed over, gritting their teeth and roaring. "Damned kid, let go of our leader. Otherwise, you're dead meat." Lin Xian snorted coldly. There was a golden light flickering in his eyes. "You're pretending to beg for mercy so that I'll let you go. Then you'll mobilize more formations and powerhouses to suppress me. Right? No, how could that be?" The leader of the guards' face turned pale. Have I been discovered? However, he wouldn't admit it even if he died. The golden light in Lin Xian's eyes blossomed again. "I'll ask you one last time, right?" A powerful force of reincarnation surged into the guard's mind. Chapter 5147. Yes, this time, Longhai's guard nodded and admitted it. His eyes were shining with golden light. In the next moment, he half knelt in the void. "I was blind. I shouldn't have offended you. Please punish me." The surrounding people were stunned. Even the guard leader had knelt down? Didn't this mean that the Dragon Palace had bowed down? Damn it, what's going on? Hurry up and report this to young master. The surrounding guards went crazy when they saw this scene and hurriedly reported it. At this moment, in the main hall of the dragon boat, it was very lively. All kinds of palace maids were dancing, and there was good wine and food around. There were a few figures sitting on top. They were all young men with extraordinary auras. Some of them had powerful strength as if they were peerless gods of war. Some of them had the aura of the Path of Dragons. At this moment, they were drinking and chatting. However, at this moment, the door of the palace was opened. A few figures hurried in and knelt on the ground. "Young master, bad news. Something big has happened." The surrounding palace maids stopped what they were doing. There were two men sitting in front of them. One of them frowned. "I told you not to disturb me, no matter what. Don't you understand?" A terrifying dragon shadow appeared around them as if it was going to tear the sky apart. The guard was trembling in fear. "Something has happened. Someone has attacked us on the dragon boat and injured our guards." They even suppressed the guard leader. As soon as this was said, there was an uproar in the main hall. The man from the dragon palace frowned. Who was it? Who was so reckless? "Brother Tianxue, please wait for a moment. I'll deal with it." Long Qianshan stood up with an extremely cold expression. Who dared to behave atrociously in the Dragon Sea clan? He would never let that person off. However, at this moment the guard said again. He asked young master Tianxue to go as well, because that person had killed many tyrants. What? This time, the other man was also angry. He stood up with a bang. The surrounding void kept shattering and turning into many black holes. Did he hear wrongly? Someone from the tyrants had died, and there were a few of them. Let's go. He took a step forward and tore the void apart. On the other side, Long Qianshan also followed. They all wanted to see who was so audacious. On the deck outside, countless people were watching. Suddenly, the void split open and a few figures descended from it. They suppressed all directions. Someone cried out in alarm. Oh heavens, it's actually Ba Tianxue and Long Qianshan. These two were top-notch geniuses. This kid was dead meat. They all looked at Lin Xian. Young master, save me. The guard leader of Dragon Palace exclaimed when he saw Long Qianshan. He wanted to ask for help. However, the toad slapped him and shut him up, causing his teeth to fly all over the place. Long Qianshan's face turned cold when he saw this. A damned toad dared to be arrogant in front of their dragon clan? Men, take him down. Long Qianshan waved his hand, and a middle-aged dragon walked out from behind him. His strength was extremely terrifying. He suddenly attacked. Like lightning, he punched towards the toad's head. The toad retreated in fright, while Lin Xian made his move. He struck out with his palm and collided with his opponent's fist. A sky-shaking sound rang out as the man was sent flying, one of his arms broken. He was stunned. Who are you? He stared fixedly at Lin Xian. Are you the one who took the lead? Long Qianshan's eyes flickered. On the other side, Ba Tianxue's expression was also cold. Who are you? Tell me where you came from. Lin Xian looked at the two of them and sneered. You two don't have the right to know. You're courting death. Long Qianshan was completely enraged. He snorted coldly and struck out with his palm. His dragon claw was filled with terrifying lightning, bursting out with dazzling light. It formed a lightning field that enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian stood in the lightning field without fear. The lightning that struck his body could not break through his defense. How is this possible? Long Qianshan could not believe that his full-powered attack could not break through Lin Xian's defense. Who is this person? The others were also shocked. Ba Tianxue's expression was solemn. At this moment, he cupped his fists and said in a deep voice, Young master, may I know who you are? We want to know who you are before we die. My name is Lin Xian. A faint voice rang out. The surrounding people were puzzled. They had never heard of this name. However, Ba Tianxue's pupils shrank. What? It's you. You are. He did not dare to say anything else. His eyes were wide open. He finally knew that he had kicked an iron plate. Others might not know who Lin Xian was, but he did. There was someone from the tyrants who was cultivating in the Saint Source ancient city. Moreover, he was a genius from the Earth sect. He had heard of Lin Xian's legend. However, He did not expect that Lin Xian would appear here. Moreover, he appeared above Long Hai. He had heard that Lin Xian and Long Hai were rivals. So it's young master. We were blind to have offended young master. Those who died deserved it. The tyrants will not seek revenge from young master. The surrounding people were stunned. Heavens, who is this young man? How could he make Ba Tianxue so fearful? Long Qianshan was also stunned. Who is brother Tianxue? He knew that Ba Tianxue's strength was on par with his. Now that Ba Tianxue was so fearful, could he be an emperor? Ba Tianxue shook his head. What could he say? If he revealed Lin Xian's identity, Lin Xian would probably kill him on the spot. Therefore, he could only say, "I'll leave now." As he spoke, he soared into the sky, wanting to leave the dragon boat. However, Lin Xian said indifferently, "Stop. Just stay at the side." Ba Tianxue's body had already reached the 9 heavens. When he heard this, he immediately descended. He stood on the other side of the deck, not daring to move. The surrounding spectators were also shocked. Which one of them who could board the dragon boat was weak? However, when they saw Ba Tianxue's actions, they felt their scalps go numb. Just what kind of person could make Ba Tianxue so willingly submit to him? The young geniuses were even more shocked. Ba Tianxue's strength was far above theirs. They had to be respectful when they saw him. The only people who could make Ba Tianxue fearful were those emperor's sons. However, was the person in front of them an emperor's son? Why had they not heard of him? The people from Long Hai were also stunned. Their expressions became extremely ugly. This was their territory. Ba Tianxue could be fearful, but they couldn't. If word got out that they were afraid of others in their own territory, they would never be able to raise their heads again. Long Qianshan snorted coldly. Whoever dares to make a move on the dragon boat, you're dead meat. Kneel down and accept your death, or I'll destroy your soul. You! Lin Xian's eyes were filled with disdain. He stretched out a finger and pointed forward. Damn it! How dare you look down on me? Do you think you can kill me with a single finger? Long Qianshan roared, erupting with a terrifying light. He punched out with his dragon fist, suppressing heaven and earth. The two collided as if heaven and earth were collapsing. How is this possible? Long Qianshan retreated, vomiting blood. He was injured in the collision. The other party's finger was even more terrifying than his unique skill. He couldn't accept it. Chapter 5148. What's wrong? Are you surprised and unable to accept it? Lin Xian sneered and stepped forward. He arrived in front of Long Qianshan and pointed his finger at him again. His black finger carried a terrifying demonic aura that could pierce through the heavens and earth. Long Qianshan tried his best to block it, but he was still sent flying. Another bloody hole appeared on his body. Lin Xian sneered. Who do you think you are? A high and mighty genius? A peerless expert that can sweep through everything? How dare you be so arrogant in front of me? You don't even know who I am. Do you have the right to be arrogant? Lin Xian kicked Long Qianshan like a coiling dragon and sent him flying again. More than half of Long Qianshan's bones were broken. He fell in the distance and vomited blood. He's too strong. The surrounding people were stunned. That was Long Qianshan, the owner of this ship. But now he was being beaten up. Who is this young man? He defeated Ba Tianxue with just one sentence. He injured Long Qianshan with just one finger. Perhaps even a young great emperor was no match for him. Damn brat, I want you dead. Long Qianshan roared. The dragon blood in his body surged, and endless laws surrounded him. His broken body reformed. Then a pagoda flew out from his forehead. It was a dragon pagoda. There were dragon patterns engraved on it. It was abnormally terrifying. The moment it appeared, it let out a series of dragon roars. The dragon shadows circled around it and exploded with unparalleled power. The dragon pagoda suppressed Lin Xian. It was a super terrifying sacred artifact. The moment it appeared, countless people exclaimed in surprise. The people of Long Hai sneered again. This time, they could definitely suppress Long Qianshan. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He circulated his strength, and his powerful physique shook the world. Then he struck out with his palm. A huge seal was drawn on his palm. It was the demon god seal. With a clang, the attack landed on the dragon pagoda, causing it to shake violently. A part of it caved in. The surrounding people's eyes almost popped out, especially the people of Long Hai. They could not believe it. How powerful was this saint tool? How could it have been broken by someone? How terrifying is this guy's physique? Long Qianshan vomited blood as if he was struck by lightning. Lin Xian's figure swayed again. He appeared in front of Long Qianshan. His fingers were like swords. Long Qianshan's body was torn to pieces. Can't even withstand a single blow? Is there no one in Long Hai who can fight? Lin Xian's voice sounded. The other guards were stunned. Uncle, save me. Long Qianshan's soul roared. In the depths of the dragon boat, an angry roar sounded. Immediately after, the phantom of a black dragon appeared and enveloped the world. The 9 Qianshans. In the next moment, to the sky, to Long Qianshan, to the sky, to the sky, to the sky. Qianshan, S Qianshan. Long cheese to S to Lin to the Qianshan to the people. A saint was a true, unrivaled expert. Black to Qianshan to the long dragon long to the dragon. His appearance. To Qianshan Long Qianshan was seriously injured. To be honest, he did not dare to believe it. He stared at Lin Xian and shouted coldly, "Who are you?" In his opinion, Lin Xian was definitely not a nobody. Given how powerful the other party was, he probably had a powerful background. A sage? Interesting. Let's see if you are qualified to know my identity. Lin Xian said indifferently. He was not afraid of a sage. And the black dragon lord extended his palm and slashed down like a barbaric dragon. Suddenly, the sky darkened. The surrounding people quickly retreated. They had already reached the edge of the deck. No one dared to take the attack head-on. Murong Qingqing and the others also retreated. Lin Xian shouted angrily, "Good. The people before were too useless. They could not make me use my full strength. I hope you don't disappoint me." Lin Xian punched in all directions. Now that he had broken through to the great sage realm, he wanted to use a sage to test his combat strength. The 6 paths fist pressed forward and collided with the barbaric dragon palm. With a cracking sound, the 2 of them retreated. Lin Xian felt his arm go numb. In the next moment, strength surged through his body and his arm returned to normal. Good. The power of a saint was not bad. He laughed loudly as he charged out. The black dragon lord was completely stunned. Who was this person? Was this a young man? To be honest, he couldn't believe it because he had never seen such a terrifying young man. Judging from the other party's aura, he should be a saint king. Even if he was an imperial prince, his physique alone wouldn't be so terrifying. After all, there was a difference of several realms between saint kings and saints. The sage was a late-stage great god. Could the other party surpass so many levels? He couldn't believe it. Damn it, this was definitely an old monster pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. The black dragon, sage, gritted his teeth. He felt that the other party only looked young. No matter which old monster you are, I'll make you reveal your true form today. Black dragon storm. Thinking of this, he roared angrily, and the black dragon's law burst out from his body, turning into a black fog that shrouded the entire dragon boat. The phantom of a black dragon appeared between heaven and earth and charged out. There were a total of 81 of them, and each of them was like an ancient divine beast that could sweep through the 9 heavens. It was too terrifying. Countless people were terrified. This was the power of a saint. They had supreme power. No matter how strong the other young geniuses were, they couldn't do it. Long Qianshan and the others gritted their teeth. This kid definitely couldn't withstand it. He would definitely die. They wanted to see him die with their own eyes. Murong Qingqing and the others were also nervous. Although Lin Xian had broken through, this was still the first time he was facing a saint. Looking at the phantom of the black dragons rushing down, Long Qianshan sneered. Lin Xian scoffed coldly and waved his hand, causing a sharp sword aura to appear. The moment the sword chi appeared, it released an incomparably sharp aura. At this moment, sword light surrounded Lin Xian's body as if he had turned into a peerless sword god. With a slash of his sword, the void shattered. It carried a vast divine might. With a boom, the sword light slashed on a black dragon and split it in half. It let out an unwilling roar. Then it disappeared. Immediately after, Lin Xian unleashed a second slash. With another slash, heaven and earth were split apart. The second black dragon was split apart again, and its entire huge body collapsed like a mountain. The third slash, it was even more terrifying. It was like a peerless divine sword that swept through the 9 heavens. This time, 3 dragon phantoms were shattered. The more Lin Xian fought, the braver he became. The long sword in his hand was wide open and brought with it supreme power. He killed all 81 black dragons. Between heaven and earth, dragon blood dripped down, and the dragons roared as if they were about to destroy the world. The people on the dragon boat looked up at the sky and were shocked when they saw the scene. Was he going to slay the dragons? Impossible. Long Qianshan and the others from Long Hai were scared silly. This was not an ordinary divine ability. This was a super divine ability that a saint had unleashed. The other party was actually able to deal with it, so calmly like cutting vegetables. How powerful was the other party? Could it be that he was also a saint? Chapter 50, 149. The Black Dragon Sage was stunned. Although it wasn't his strongest ability, it shouldn't have been destroyed so easily. Even if it was an expert of the same level as him, it shouldn't have been like this. Lin Fan's sword chi was too sharp. It was something he had never seen before. He even thought that Lin Fan had taken out a legendary saint weapon. However, he realized that it was just sword light. Lin Fan had used his arm to attack. Damn it. Could it be? Lin Fan's arm had fused with a super saint weapon. Lin Xian pointed his sword at the clouds and said coldly, "As a saint, is this all you can do?" What a disappointment. Kid, don't be so arrogant. The Black Dragon Sage was enraged. He shouted as a terrifying vessel exploded from his body. Then he spread his wings. The black dragon wings covered the sky. There were terrifying dragon scales on them. Each of them was like a black divine sword. There were tens of millions of them. As the wings flapped, the dragon scales fell. They pierced through the clouds and formed a sword array. They fell crazily. No matter how strong your sword chi is, can it be compared to my dragon scales? He sneered coldly. So many. Seeing this scene, countless people were shocked. They realized that they couldn't even block a single dragon scale, let alone tens of millions of them. No one could block it unless Lin Fan could dodge it completely, or he had a super powerful defensive weapon. Otherwise, he would definitely die. No one doubted the power of a saint. Murong Qingqing and the others' eyes flickered. They were nervous. Yu Xianzi's scalp went numb. She looked at Yunyue and the others and said, "Can he block it? If he dies, all of us will die." Yunyue looked up at the sky with admiration. She smiled and said, "Don't worry. Young master is not afraid of anything." On the other side, Ba Tianxue's expression was grave. The previous battle had shocked him. Fortunately, he didn't provoke Lin Fan. Otherwise, he would probably end up as miserable as Long Qianshan. Lin Fan was indeed Lin Wuti. At the same time, he was shocked. Lin Wuti was so terrifying that he could fight against a saint. Could it be that Lin Fan had broken through? Thinking of this possibility, he sucked in a cold breath. Long Qianshan and the others gritted their teeth. This time, the other party should be dead. Lin Xian had no intention of dodging as he looked at the countless black swords descending from the sky. Competing with sword chi, he formed a seal with his palms, and black and white auras appeared in his palms. Then it turned into a Taiji diagram. The Tai Chi diagram spun continuously, releasing a terrifying yin and yang aura. Then, countless yin and yang sword chi flew out from it and soared into the sky. These yin and yang sword chis carried the power of yin and yang and an indestructible aura. Similarly, there were tens of millions of them. The sword chi from the two sides collided with each other, creating a deafening sound. It was as if 10,000 bolts of lightning had struck, shattering everything between heaven and earth. Countless large cracks appeared on the dragon boat, turning into black holes one after another, bobbing up and down. Heavens, he actually blocked it. Countless people were shocked. Long Qianshan was dumbfounded. How could this be? This was yin and yang qi. Could it be that he was from the Kunping race? Ba Tianxue was also shocked. This was different from the Lin Wudi he knew. Legend had it that Lin Wudi had the 9 yang divine body, and his fists could sweep through everything. At the same time, he was also a peerless swordsman. However, he had never heard that Lin Wudi knew the laws of yin and yang. Moreover, it seemed that the laws of yin and yang were not something that he had just cultivated. It was too terrifying. It was enough to block the peerless divine ability of a great sage. Could it be that Lin Wudi had not used his full strength before? Thinking of this possibility, Ba Tianxue almost fainted. At this moment, the experts of the dragon race on the dragon boat all moved out. They looked ahead with shock on their faces. Someone was fighting here, and it was with the Black Dragon Lord. Damn it, who was that kid? They could not see clearly. The sword light that filled the sky seemed to be able to destroy everything. Even the soul could not be seen. Everyone could only wait for the Black Dragon Lord to win to know the situation. The yin and yang sword qi collided with the black swords, blocking the divine ability of the great sage. This time, the Black Dragon Lord was completely stunned. There was yin and yang qi. Damn it. He roared angrily, and the black wings on his back slashed down. This was the physique of his main body. He wanted to use this pair of dragon wings to split his opponent in half. The 2 dragon wings were extremely sharp and emitted a cold light. They were like 2 peerless heavenly swords that descended from the sky. This time, the yin and yang sword qi were split apart. Many of them turned into fragments of laws that danced in the air. He was angry. Everyone exclaimed. Long Qianshan was also happy. Haha, this was great. The physique of a great sage was extremely strong. The black dragon wings were the hardest part of the black dragon's body. They were enough to break through everything. As expected, the yin and yang sword qi could not block it. Was the victor going to be decided this time? Countless people were looking forward to it. Lin Xian looked at this scene and narrowed his eyes. Humph. He sneered and formed a seal with his palms again. The Tai Chi diagram separated. On one side, it turned into a yang god. On the other side, it turned into a yin god. It had an extremely terrifying aura of death. The yin and yang gods exploded together as if 2 gods had been resurrected. They were as tall as the 9 heavens. They roared angrily and reached out with their flame-like hands to grab one of the black dragon wings. The yin god grabbed the other one. In the next instant, a heaven-shaking sound could be heard. The yin and yang gods grabbed the 2 black dragon wings. Roar! The Black Dragon Lord was stunned. He did not expect the other party's Tai Chi diagram to have such a shocking transformation. Fool! You want to compete with me in terms of physique? He activated his power, and endless great Tao appeared on his body. The black dragon wings exploded and danced continuously. However, he had underestimated the yin and yang gods. The laws of yin and yang were already so terrifying. As for the yin and yang gods, Lin Xian had comprehended the good and evil spirits. Therefore, they formed a super powerful divine ability. That was why their power was so terrifying. In addition, they had the power of the great dragon sword soul. They were invincible. Make your move. Lin Xian also stepped forward. Endless light bloomed from his body. The yin and yang gods were supported by a powerful force. They roared at the sky. Both of them exerted their strength and waved their arms. With a crack, the sound of bones breaking could be heard. The two black dragon wings were broken. The black dragon lord let out a crazy roar. He was injured. The toughest part of his physique had been broken by the other party. This was impossible. Long Qianshan and the others were terrified. Many dragon race martial artists were already kneeling on the ground in fear. The other dragon race martial artists were even more shocked. Which old monster had come? Ba Tianxue and the others were completely stunned. Lin Xian's battle prowess had exceeded their expectations. He was like a completely different person compared to when he was crowned. Despicable ant, you dare to hurt me? I won't let you go. I will make you fall into hell forever. The black dragon lord's cold voice could be heard. He was really angry. Just you? Lin Xian sneered. Do you have the right to say that? He waved his arm and merged his power into the yin and yang gods. The yin and yang gods used their divine power and waved their arms again. At this moment, heaven and earth were torn into two. The two black dragon wings were also torn off. Chapter 5150. Blood stained the sky. The huge black dragon wings were shattered. There were white bones on them, which made one's scalp tingle. Everyone on the dragon boat was stunned. This scene was like a myth. This was the power of a god. No, I don't believe it. Long Qianshan's body had recovered. But at this moment, he was so scared that he knelt on the ground, his body trembling. Did he challenge the other party just now? This was an existence that could injure a great sage. This was great. The Crimson Dragon and the others were delighted, as expected of the power after the breakthrough. It was much stronger than before. Lin Xian did not use his legendary sacred weapon, nor did he use any extreme weapons. But even so, he still seriously injured a great sage. This was enough to show how powerful he was. More importantly, Lin Xian had just become a great sage, and the great sage was in the late stage of the great sage realm. If Lin Xian reached the late stage of the great sage realm, his strength would be unimaginable. It would probably be enough to wipe out everything. The black dragon wings were not bad. He would roast them later. Lin Xian waved his hand and put away the two broken black dragon wings. The black dragon, lord on the other side, spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to tear you into pieces. He was really crazy. He did not expect to be at a disadvantage in the hands of the other party, and it was a serious injury. Although he could recover, the black dragon wings were his most powerful weapon. However, there were two bloody holes on his back that kept splitting open. The pain drove him crazy. The laws on his body condensed and repaired the wounds. His face was extremely cold. No matter who you are, you have angered me. Now accept my punishment. He took out a black sledgehammer from his storage ring. There was lightning on it. The black dragon hammer was a terrifying, sacred weapon. It could shatter the sky with a light swing. Are you sure you want to compare weapons? Lin Xian took out the Hellfire Dragon Sword. Terrifying black flames bloomed on it and swept through the 9 heavens. Then he charged forward. In the next moment, the two fought again. They were like two gods fighting. Every time the weapons clashed, a godlike radiance would erupt. After over 100 moves, the black dragon sage let out a miserable cry as one of his arms was chopped off. It's useless. You're no match for me. Lin Xian shook his head. You're too weak. Is there anyone else who can fight? He looked around. Damn it, you dare to look down on me? The black dragon sage was mad with anger. He was a dignified saint, an overlord of a region. Who would dare to underestimate him? But now the other party was actually so arrogant. The other members of the dragon tribe were also shocked. At this moment, a lady flew over. "Sage, something's not right. There's something wrong with this brat." Of course, I knew there was something wrong with him. The black dragon sage roared in anger. How could an ordinary person injure him so severely? However, the woman shook her head. "Look at the sword he used. Doesn't it look like Lin Woody's sword?" Hearing this, the black dragon saint was stunned. The others were also stunned and looked up at the sky. Lin Woody? What a familiar name. Someone cried out in alarm. Wasn't that the exceptional genius who was crowned a king? Yes, that's right, it was him. Could it be that he had come here? He was Lin Woody. Countless exclamations sounded as they all looked at Lin Xian. But soon, someone shook his head. Impossible. No matter how strong Lin Woody was, he was just a saint. Could he fight against a sage? Even if he could, he would have to use his trump card. He couldn't do it with his own strength. The others were confused. However, the black dragon sage's pupils constricted. "You're Lin Woody?" He didn't dare to believe it. He dared to appear here? Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. He smiled. "Only now did you realize my identity. You guys are really stupid. That's right, I'm Lin Woody." As soon as these words came out, everyone went crazy. He really was Lin Woody. They were still guessing, but now he actually admitted it. Didn't Lin Woody kill the young master of Dragon Sea long ago? Why did he still dare to appear in Dragon Sea? Could it be that he wanted to challenge Dragon Sea? Impossible. He would be suppressed by the countless experts of Dragon Sea. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't fight against a clan of the ancients, especially a top one. Countless exclamations were heard. The black dragon sage also laughed. "Stupid thing, we've been looking for you for a long time, but we haven't found any clues. We didn't expect you to come here yourself. Since you want to die, we'll fulfill your wish." Men. With a wave of his hand, the surrounding experts of the dragon clan swarmed over. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His palms formed a seal, and an endless black vortex appeared around him. It swallowed the sky and the earth, and the entire dragon boat was enveloped. Seeing this scene, countless people were terrified. Their scalps went numb. They knew that there would be an earth-shattering battle. So many people wanted to escape from the dragon boat, but now they didn't dare to. That black vortex cut off everyone's path. Some people went crazy and wanted to try, but they were swallowed. They never appeared again. The others' scalps went numb. The black dragon sage sneered. "Why? Did you think we would escape? What a joke. This time, we will use all our strength to kill you. You can't escape at all. Is that so? Who was the stupid one?" They would soon know. Lin Xian was unmoved. He was naturally afraid that these people would escape. He wasn't afraid of the people on the dragon boat, but if the Dragon Sea Lord came with supreme experts, then it would be dangerous. So, he first used the heaven-swallowing jar to swallow and isolate everything. Next was the battle. He wouldn't let any of these people from the Dragon Sea clan go. Attack together, activate the array, and kill this kid. The black dragon sage gave the order. The others all fled. They hid as far away as possible to watch the battle. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Since the black dragon sage recognized him, he didn't plan to hold back. His figure flashed, and he took the lead to attack the black dragon sage. In an instant, he arrived in front of the black dragon sage. With a slash of his sword, he transformed into a hell dragon that roared crazily. The despicable black dragon sage waved his black dragon hammer to resist. With a clang, the void shattered. The black dragon sage flew backward and vomited blood. "Damn it! Charge!" The surrounding experts charged over. Among them, there were 4 mid-stage great sage. They were very strong and were very close to the late-stage great sage. They were equivalent to Yun Hai's strength. These were 4 experts of the older generation. When they attacked together, they could destroy heaven and earth. If it was before, Lin Xian really wouldn't be able to resist. After all, he had used all his strength to kill Yun Hai. But it was different now. Lin Xian had broken through. His strength had undergone an earth-shaking change. So, even if the 4 Yun Hai attacked together, he could still deal with them calmly. His figure flashed, and he instantly dodged. Then he appeared behind an elder and punched out. Boom! The punch, which carried the illusion of 6 worlds, directly smashed the Dragon Clan elder into pieces. The phantoms of the 6 worlds kept spinning and swallowing the broken body. Chapter 51-51. The 6 Paths Fist was extremely terrifying. Not only did it possess an indomitable force, but it also possessed an indomitable force. Not only was it powerful, but it could also form the 6th Tao world to suppress the enemy. At this moment, Lin Xian had suppressed the dragon race elder into the 6th Tao world. The elder screamed crazily. Although he didn't die, he wouldn't be able to attack again in a short period of time. He wouldn't be able to threaten Lin Xian any longer. Seeing that a single punch had heavily injured a dragon race expert, the surrounding people were shocked. The black dragon lord roared in anger. Damn it! Killing intent appeared on his body as he attacked again. Lin Xian used the Hellfire Dragon sword to fight. At the same time, he summoned the Yin-Yang God to kill. The ones fighting Lin Xian were 5 of the Dragon Clan's experts, while the others had activated the formation to attack. Some even wanted to attack. The Crimson Dragon, Murong Qingqing, and the others made Lin Xian hesitate. However, the Crimson Dragon, Murong Qingqing, and the others were also top experts. They weren't afraid of these attacks at all. In addition to the Yin-Yang God that Lin Xian had formed, the 2 godlike figures started attacking the array. The battle had completely erupted. Seeing that Lin Xian was restrained by the Black Dragon Lord, another person attacked. It was the lady from before. She transformed into a terrifying dragon shadow and covered the sky. Then she opened her dragon head and bit at Lin Xian, wanting to swallow him. On the other side, it was a bald man. His eyes were shining with a terrifying light. Eyes of the green dragon. The green light flashed and pierced through everything as it charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian forced the black dragon lord back with a sword. Then he slapped the head of the dragon race lady. He sent her flying. The lady's pretty face was instantly smashed as she screamed and flew back. Facing the eyes of the green dragon, Lin Xian's face was cold. His figure flashed and he instantly dodged. He could feel that those eyes contained an extremely powerful force. Seeing this, the dragon race bald man laughed coldly and attacked quickly. Lin Xian was furious. Stupid thing. There was also a golden light flickering in his eyes. Reincarnation Mountain. Boundless reincarnation energy transformed into a mountain peak that pressed down. Boom! Their gazes collided. A sonorous sound was heard. Following that, screams could be heard. The bald dragon's eyes bled as he was sent flying. His eye technique had been severely damaged. He was too powerful. Those people in the distance were incomparably terrified. With so many Dragon Clan experts besieging Lin Xian alone, they were still unable to do anything to him. Instead, they were beaten up miserably by Lin Xian. Was this guy trying to defy the heavens? Lin Xian's attack succeeded and he attacked again. The reincarnation mountain pressed down. The bald dragon screamed. His injuries had worsened. "Hurry up and save me!" The black dragon sage roared and charged over with the black dragon hammer. Endless lightning blocked Lin Xian's path. Lin Xian didn't attack the bald dragon. Instead, he turned around and attacked the female dragon. The female's face had just recovered when she was sent flying by the sword. In the next moment, she saw Lin Xian reach out with his palm. The power of yin and yang enveloped her. The power of death exploded, and her life force quickly disappeared. No, with a wail, she turned into white bones. Dead. A top figure had fallen, and it made the Dragon Clan members go crazy. It was only a matter of time before these people became sages in the future. But now one of them had fallen, and it made their hearts bleed. However, they realized that this was just the beginning. Next, Lin Xian took out the Great Destruction Spear. He killed the bald dragon in 3 moves. Another top figure had fallen. The Black Dragon Sage was furious. He chased after Lin Xian relentlessly, but Lin Xian used Shadowless, and Heavenly Net appeared and disappeared unpredictably. The Black Dragon Sage was helpless. At this moment, the old man that was suppressed by the 6 paths of reincarnation flew out. His face was pale. After he came out, he gritted his teeth. Despicable brat, I will gather all my strength and kill you. However, when he came out, he was stunned. His companions, 2 people, had actually disappeared. A sea of blood surrounded the world. Could it be that the 2 of them had fallen? The Dragon Clan elder's scalp went numb. The strength of the 2 of them was not weaker than him. He actually had no strength to fight back. He was terrified and turned to escape. Don't you think it's too late to escape now? Lin Xian waved his hand, and the 9 young divine fire flew out and turned into countless golden crows. They covered the sky and covered the earth. The old man was burned to ashes. The 3rd top expert had fallen. The Black Dragon Sage's expression became incomparably ugly. He looked at the 4th person. That person looked younger and had a scar on his face. The Black Dragon Sage said to that person, "Go control the dragon boat and launch a world-destroying attack. I will restrain him." The 4th person, the scarred dragon, nodded. He said, "Don't worry, Sage. I will definitely complete the mission." As he spoke, he flew downwards. This time, they were going to activate the dragon boat's most terrifying power. Even if they had to destroy the entire dragon boat, they had to kill the other party. Lin Xian frowned and flew forward. However, the Black Dragon Sage stopped him. "Your opponent is me." He waved the Black Dragon Hammer and swept it in all directions. Lin Xian's expression was cold. "If you want to die, I will fulfill your wish." He was completely furious. He knew that there must be a terrifying trump card on the dragon boat. However, it needed time to activate. He would not give the other party a chance. He turned into the shadow of a demon god and charged forward. The Black Dragon Sage roared angrily, and his body bloomed with a terrifying light. The bloodline on his body was burning. "Today, I will let you see my most terrifying ultimate technique. Black Dragon World Destroying Fist." A destructive aura appeared on the Black Dragon Sage's fists. With a punch, the flesh and blood on his fists turned into nothingness. Obviously, this was a destructive power. If he wanted to kill someone, he would also suffer a great impact. It was a fighting style that would cause both sides to suffer. However, the power was really terrifying. Even Lin Xian felt his hair stand on end. For the first time, he did not take it head-on. With a punch, the endless void shattered, and the entire dragon boat was shaken by the impact. The light of many needle techniques on it dimmed. Nothing could block this punch. "What? You don't dare to fight back? Then go to hell." The Black Dragon Sage punched out once again. His other fist had also turned into white bones. The power of this punch was even more terrifying. Lin Xian's expression was cold. "You don't dare to fight back? You think too highly of yourself. I will let you see my strength." Lin Xian stood there, and the demonic aura on his body overflowed. A demonic shadow appeared behind him and slowly raised its palm. It clenched its 5 fingers into a fist and punched out. The entire body of the demonic figure was an illusion, but its fist was incomparably real. The materialized fist rushed over and fought against the Black Dragon World Destroying Fist. "It is useless. You cannot block it." The Black Dragon Sage snorted coldly. His fist art was enough to destroy a few worlds in the universe. His opponent could not block it at all. Chapter 51-52. It was over. Some people from the dragon clan laughed. Under this kind of contemptuous fist technique, all resistance was futile. However, the Crimson Dragon race also laughed. They knew that the demonic shadow behind Lin Xian was terrifying. The demonic shadow from before could only condense a single finger, and that single finger was enough to sweep everything away. Now that it could condense a fist, how terrifying was its power! The demonic god fist and the world-exterminating fist collided in the sky. A power that seemed capable of destroying the heavens and the earth erupted, and the endless array formations shattered at this moment. Some people turned into blood mist. The black hole in the heaven-devouring jar kept sinking, and cracks appeared on the black dragon ship. One could imagine how terrifying this attack was. After the attack, a shattering sound could be heard. The black dragon sage widened his eyes in disbelief. He realized that his black dragon world-exterminating fist was shattered. How was this possible? This fist that could destroy thousands of worlds couldn't block it? No, at this moment he was finally terrified. He turned around and fled into the distance, wanting to tear open the whirlpool and escape. However, how could Lin Xian let him escape? The demonic god fist broke open, and the world-exterminating fist attacked. The monstrous, demonic aura enveloped the opponent. "Damn it, you can't kill me!" The black dragon sage roared crazily. However, no matter how he roared, he couldn't use this fist to penetrate the black dragon sage. His body shattered and turned into blood mist. He flew between heaven and earth. Was he dead? Countless people were shocked and didn't dare to believe it. That was a sage, a late-stage great sage. Now he had fallen. What kind of fist was this? Everyone looked at the fist in horror. Those from the Dragon Sea race who were still alive were in despair. Their saints had already fallen. Who else would be able to contend against the other party? Thinking of the hatred between them, they were scared to death. Ba Tianxue and the others were also terrified. The current Lin Wuti had Guy seize divine might. The other party was no longer a young prodigy, but a peerless expert. A peerless existence that could kill a sage. And from the looks of it, the other party should be returning to the Alcade continent. Was he returning to the Saint Source ancient city? What kind of storm would that set off? If the other princes did not break through, wouldn't they all be trampled under the others' feet? Great! The Crimson Dragon and the others shouted excitedly. This punch was really too terrifying. Murong Qingqing and the others also laughed. Yu Xianzi was dumbfounded. He didn't believe Yunyue when she said that the young master was fearless, but now he completely believed it. No wonder Yunyue was so respectful. It turned out that the other party was a godlike existence. In the sky, Lin Xian's face was pale. The power of this punch was beyond his imagination. He didn't even use an extreme Dao weapon and was able to kill a saint, which was truly surprising. However, at the same time he was frowning. That was because that punch had consumed too much power. In particular, he had consumed too much devil chi. Now, there was only half of his strength left in his body. From the looks of it, this ultimate move could only be used 2 to 3 times at most. What kind of existence was the demonic shadow summoned by the demon's summoning scripture? Just a fist was enough to sweep everything away. If the entire demonic shadow was summoned, how terrifying would it be? Lin Xian had many guesses about this demonic shadow, but now was not the time to think about it. He still had things to do. His eyes emitted a piercing light, and a pair of eyes of a god appeared and enveloped the entire dragon boat. Previously, a top-notch expert had escaped. He should have activated his trump card array. He had to find the other party and kill him. At this moment, an extremely terrifying light burst out from his eyes. He found it. He was about to make a move. Suddenly, a rumbling sound came from heaven and earth. An entire dragon boat shook violently. Then, 10,000 dragons roared. The people on the dragon boat were terrified. What had happened? They felt the giant dragons rolling. Had the dragon boat come back to life? Some people were terrified. The dragon boat was made of the bones of countless dragon powerhouses after they died. It was abnormally terrifying. At this moment, the dragon soul on the dragon boat should have been revived. There was actually such a thing. Countless people were shocked. The Crimson Dragon's expression also changed. Oh no, I didn't expect them to have a trump card. What's going on? The Toad was surprised. The Crimson Dragon said, "We thought that the strongest one was the Black Dragon Sage." Actually, it wasn't. The strongest one was this dragon boat. This was a dragon boat that contained endless power and had been sleeping all this time. Usually, it would take a long time to activate it. Previously, the Black Dragon Sage was buying time for his people. Now, the sleeping power of the dragon boat had awakened. What should they do? The Murong Ching Ching also frowned. He also felt a sense of horror. It could be imagined that once the sleeping power erupted, it would destroy everything. Between heaven and earth, there was still the shadow of a dragon. The entire ship had completely come to life. The destructive power above was aimed at Lin Xian. Go to hell. In the depths of the dragon boat, the scarred dragon roared ferociously. Even the Black Dragon Sage had fallen. He couldn't believe it. But fortunately, he had finally succeeded in activating the sleeping power. The other party couldn't resist this attack at all. In all directions, for dragon heads appeared. They released a terrifying light of destruction. This power was countless times more terrifying than the Black Dragon World destroying fist from before. Even the Black Dragon Sage would not be able to withstand a dragon head. Now that there were 4 dragon heads, could Lin Xian block them? Lin Xian also felt his hair stand on end. At this moment, a dragon head shot out a light of destruction. Lin Xian quickly dodged, turning into an afterimage. However, after the light of destruction pierced through the afterimage, it still didn't give up. It charged towards him. Lin Xian shouted angrily. He released the Yin Yang God, but it was also torn apart by the light of destruction. He knew that he had to use a powerful trump card. This was the sole power formed by 10,000 dragons. It was abnormally terrifying. Taking a deep breath, the demonic shadow behind him moved again. Demonic God Fist. A black fist punched out, destroying heaven and earth, blocking the light of destruction. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out. Lin Xian took 2 steps back. The light of destruction in front of him disappeared. He actually blocked it. Countless people were shocked. This Lin Wuti was too heaven-defying. The Crimson Dragon Sage and the others had ugly expressions. They could see that the danger hadn't disappeared. Sure enough, in the depths of the dragon boat, the scarred man gritted his teeth. Damn it, let's see how many times you can block it. The other 3 dragon heads once again erupted with endless power. They were condensing the light of destruction. Not good, the others were in despair. When these 3 lights of destruction exploded together, everyone's soul would be destroyed. Were the people of Long Hai crazy? Lin Xian's face was pale. The demonic shadow behind him slowly disappeared. It was obvious that the previous 2 demonic god fists had consumed most of his strength. In addition, he had killed so many experts before this. The strength in his body was already gone. Haha, let's see how you die this time. The dragon-scarred man sensed Lin Xian's weakening aura and laughed sinisterly. Chapter 51-53. Lin Xian was indeed powerless now, but he still had the sword world. Feeling the power of the 3 destructive lights, he soared into the air. The 3 dragon heads also faced the sky and aimed at Lin Xian. Everyone also looked up. This attack should be enough to determine the outcome. Boom! 3 beams of destructive light erupted and shot up into the sky. The void around Lin Xian kept shattering, and Lin Xian also felt a huge force. It was as if a hammer had smashed into his body. "Destroy!" The people of the Dragon Sea sneered. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He took a deep breath. In the next moment, a sword shadow appeared in front of him. It was a dragon-shaped sword shadow. "Great Dragon, Sword Spirit." Lin Xian grabbed it and raised it above his head. He held the sword hilt with both hands and slashed down. What was this kid trying to do? Was he going to resist instead of running away? When countless people saw this scene, they were all stunned. What kind of joke was this? They could already see that Lin Xian had no power. Even if he had power, the demonic shadow behind him had disappeared. Could he block these 3 destructive lights? Humph, Aunt Reckless. The people of the Dragon Sea sneered. Slash! Lin Xian roared angrily, and the great dragon sword Spirit slashed down. At the same time, the power of the sword world also flew out. At this moment, the great dragon sword Spirit seemed to have been resurrected. A sword slash could destroy heaven and earth. Roar! Roar! Between heaven and earth, the dragon's roar resounded through the 9 heavens. Countless people were shocked. Their faces were pale, and they quickly sealed their hearing. This power was enough to make their ears bleed. The people of the Dragon Clan were also excited. Great, the destructive lights were too powerful. However, the face of the scarred man who was controlling the array changed. "That's not right. This is not the roar of the 3 dragon heads. What is it? Is it from the other party? How could this be?" In the next moment, he saw a sword light slashing down between heaven and earth. It was like a peerless divine sword that cut through the 9 heavens. It collided with the 3 destructive lights. Boom! Boom! A dazzling light exploded in the sky as a destructive force swept through the 9 heavens. Fortunately, Lin Xian had arrived above the 9 heavens. Otherwise, this attack would have been enough to shatter the entire dragon boat. Even so, the dragon boat continued to roll, and the entire Dragon Sea was surging with wind and clouds. The boundless sea was torn apart as if the end of the world was coming. Those people on the dragon boat felt their scalps go numb. They closed their eyes tightly. At this moment, their lives were in the hands of someone else. Intense rumbling sounds could be heard as countless people waited. Was Lin Woody dead? The storm would probably last for a long time. Everyone was terrified. However, at this moment, a clap of thunder sounded between heaven and earth, and all of the destructive power was split apart by the sword. The sword light between heaven and earth became the only thing in the world. Everyone opened their eyes. What had happened? What is that? They saw Lin Xian wielding the divine sword and slicing the light of destruction into 2 halves. The terrifying storm of destruction was also torn apart by the sword. It was broken. They were shocked. At this moment, Lin Xian was like the resurrection of the sword god. Lin Xian had the 4 forces that could sweep across the universe. With one sword, he destroyed the light of destruction. He stood in the 9 heavens. With a stomp of his feet, the void all over the sky shattered. The devouring vortex swallowed all of the energy. Lin Xian stepped into the air and walked towards the depths of the dragon boat. How was that possible? The people of the Dragon Sea clan were desperate. In the depths of the dragon boat, the scarred man also couldn't believe it. Didn't the other party have no power? How could he block the 3 lights of destruction? In the next moment, she retreated in fear. She found that Lin Xian had already appeared in front of her. "Damn kid, what do you want to do? I'm warning you if you dare to touch me. Dragon, Sea won't let you go." As soon as he finished speaking, his head flew up. The sword came out and the man was killed. The scarred man's eyes widened. Even until his death, he couldn't believe that he would be killed in one move. Turning around, Lin Xian left. In the next moment, he came to the deck. Countless people watched in horror. Lin Xian walked towards Long Qianshan and the others. Long Qianshan and the others were in despair. They knelt on the ground. "Spare us! We won't dare to do it again. Go to hell and say that." Lin Xian waved his hand, condensed the sword of death, and slashed at Long Qianshan. Long Qianshan wanted to escape, but he instantly turned into white bones. The other powerhouses of the Dragon Sea clan were also killed by him with the power of death. Dead, they were all dead. On the dragon boat, the people of the Dragon Sea clan were all killed. The others were also terrified. They had seen it with their own eyes. Would the other party kill them to silence them? Seeing Lin Xian's gaze, the surrounding people lowered their heads. "Young master, please have mercy. We didn't see anything. We swear that we won't say a word about what happened today. Otherwise, our souls will be destroyed." Ba Tianxue and the others also lowered their heads and begged for mercy. With the other party's strength, it would be easy for him to kill them. Lin Xian said, "I can spare your lives, but you can't leave the dragon boat for the time being. I have something important to do. Stay here obediently and be safe. If anyone wants to escape, don't blame me for sending them to hell." After saying that, Lin Xian turned around and walked towards the palace inside. He wanted to go into seclusion to recover. The previous battle had consumed too much energy. The last sword strike had even used the power of the sword world. He had to recover quickly. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to the Crimson Dragon, telling him to take control of the ship as quickly as possible. Because he knew that although the Dragon Sea clan didn't know about what happened here, they definitely knew that so many powerhouses had died. At that time, the other party would also send experts to investigate, so they had to take control of the dragon boat. They had to speed up and avoid the other party's investigation and pursuit. "Don't worry, leave it to me." The Crimson Dragon flew in and prepared to take control of the dragon boat. He was also a member of the Dragon Clan and an array master. Lin Xian wasn't too worried. The others stayed obediently. No one dared to escape. The Dragon Sea clan had indeed received the news. The fall of the Holy Lord was such a big matter. They naturally knew who had fallen. The Dragon Sea clan was furious. Ever since Lin Wudi disappeared, their Dragon Sea clan had been peaceful for a long time. Why did something unexpected happen today? Reporting to the Patriarch, it was the Black Dragon Sage. His soul jade tablet was shattered and he had fallen. The Black Dragon Sage. Patriarch Long Hai's expression changed. Wasn't he on the dragon boat? Could it be that there was a problem with the dragon boat? Quickly go and investigate. Inform the people nearby that they must investigate clearly. Patriarch Long Hai felt uneasy. He had a feeling that something big was about to happen. There were 2 dragon boats near the Dragon Sea. After receiving the news, they quickly searched. They were looking for the Black Dragon boat. The Crimson Dragon had already taken control of the Black Dragon boat. It used the power of the array formation on the boat to accelerate forward. Its speed was twice as fast as before, turning into a bolt of lightning between heaven and earth. It was too dangerous. The Toad also said that it was almost detected by the other party. However, it still had to speed up. The other party was catching up. "Don't worry, leave it to me." The Crimson Dragon waved its dragon claws. He modified the array formation on the Black Dragon boat, making it even more powerful. Chapter 51-54. Under the control of the Crimson Dragon, the Black Dragon ship sped up again. Finally, they left the area of investigation. Although the 2 ships behind them were still chasing after them, they were no longer in danger. They were able to successfully reach the shore before the other party could investigate. Lin Xian cultivated and recovered in the sword world, and he came out 2 days later. The strength in his body had also recovered. He found the Crimson Dragon God and said, "How is it?" The Crimson Dragon said that the array formation above had been broken, but there was a problem. That was the sleeping power of the Black Dragon ship. There were 4 dragon heads on it. "The 4 that attacked you before," I can't deal with them. I'll give it a try. Lin Xian decided to negotiate with the 4 dragon heads. After all, the 4 dragon heads were too dangerous. If they self-destructed, they would probably be caught up in an instant. But would it be dangerous? Morong Qingqing was worried. Lin Xian laughed. Don't worry, I'm also considered half a dragon, and I have the great dragon sword spirit. They will recognize me. Lin Xian's body was surrounded by the aura of the dragon soul, and he flew towards the depths of the black dragon ship. Finally, he arrived at the core, where there was a secret room. Inside the secret room, there were 4 dragon heads in 4 directions. They emitted an ancient and mysterious aura. After Lin Xian arrived, the 4 dragon heads bloomed with an extremely terrifying radiance. Their gazes carried an aura of destruction. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and the terrifying power of the great dragon sword spirit surged out from his body. A dragon shadow swept across the 9 heavens. Feeling the power of the dragon soul, the 4 dragon heads shook violently. Lin Xian looked at them and said coldly, I am this generation's great dragon successor. Previously, I had no choice but to attack Longhai. After you submit, I will bring the dragon race to the peak. Lin Xian said in a sonorous voice. The 4 dragon heads quieted down, and the destructive aura on their bodies disappeared. The entire secret room became incomparably quiet. Very good. I'll take it as your agreement. Lin Xian turned and left. After settling the 4 dragon heads, the black dragon ship's speed became even faster. Half a month later, a continuous mountain range appeared in front of them. Murong Qingqing and the others all smiled. They could finally see the Yaoguang continent. Yunyi was also surprised. This speed was 5 times faster than before. Lin Xian summoned everyone on the black dragon ship and gathered them on the deck. He looked at these people and said, they were already about to reach Yaoguang continent. However, I can't let you go yet. You will have to cultivate on the dragon boat. With that, Lin Xian led Murong Qingqing, the crimson dragon, Toad and Yunyu away. Their group rose into the air. The heaven-swallowing jar glowed brightly and swallowed the dragon boat. Lin Xian's group flew towards the Yuanguang continent. 10 days after they left, 2 more dragon boats arrived. Dragon, sea experts were descending from above. Damn it, the aura of the black dragon legend had actually disappeared. Damn it, what's going on? Could it be that he went to the Yaoguang continent? Damn it, who was it? They actually dared to steal our black dragon ship. These people roared crazily. They didn't even have a clue. Holy Abyss Ancient City, Dao Sect Divine Union. At this moment, the Dao Sect had also calmed down. Those emperor-level figures were all cultivating. Nothing shocking had happened. There was only some news from the Yuhun continent. As for Lin Xian's matters, there was also less and less news. Therefore, it was exceptionally calm. The people of the Divine Union were anxiously investigating. It was said that their boss Lin had encountered divine punishment and fallen. They didn't believe it. They even decided to head to the Yuhun continent to search for news about Lin Xian. However, before they could set off, a few figures had already returned. Boss, it's you. Nailin Liang, Yu Ren, and the others were stunned. Bai Susu's eyes were also red. You didn't die. That's great. I knew that you wouldn't agree so easily. The entire Divine Union was extremely shocked. The Crimson Dragon set up an array formation and isolated all news. Then he said, how could we have fallen? We still have to deal with the Dragon Prince when we return. The people of the Divine Union were very happy. Everyone held a banquet, and it was very lively. Of course, everything was isolated by the array formation. The people outside didn't know about Lin Xian's return at all. A few days later, everyone gradually calmed down. Bai Susu found Lin Xian and said, Kid, what do you plan to do next? Are you really going to make a move on the Dragon Prince? Although your strength has increased during this period, the Dragon Prince isn't weak either. His strength must have increased during this period. It was said that he was very close to becoming a great sage. He was only a step away. Lin Xian smiled. Is that so? He hadn't broken through to become a great sage. What about Kunpingzi? Bai Susu shook his head. No. Although they hadn't broken through to become great sages, their strength was equivalent to a great sage. One had to know that they had the bloodline of emperors. It was 10 times harder for them to break through to become a top genius. How could it be so easy to break through? Lin Xian smiled. But I broke through. Bai Susu was shocked. What? What did you break through? In the next moment, she gasped. Don't tell me you broke through to become a great sage? She couldn't believe it. Lin Xian smiled. That's right. I did break through to become a great sage. Lin Xian released his law power. Bai Susu felt a sense of horror. You really broke through. It was too unbelievable. Only now did she understand why he dared to make a move on the Dragon Prince. This guy broke through before the Dragon Prince. It could be said that he was above the Dragon Prince. He was extremely excited. I also want to see how the Dragon Prince is suppressed. Oh, right, kid, you have to hurry because the Dragon Prince is going to call for a battle of the young Titans. One of them is a young paragon. A battle of the young paragons. Lin Xian was shocked. Bai Susu was right. It seemed that he wanted to use this battle to break through the shackles and become a great sage. Kunpingzi also had the same intention, so he agreed to participate. With the 2 princes taking the lead, all the top geniuses and experts of the entire Alcade continent were paying attention. Other than them, there were also many people who were preparing to participate. For example, Yi Wudao and Gu Feng. Although they weren't princes, they cultivated the great emperor's ancient scripture. Their strength was also unfathomable. Other than them, the top geniuses of the 3 great orthodoxies would also participate. For example, the overlord of the Earth sect. Other than that, other peerless sects and remote antiquity families might also send their most outstanding geniuses to participate in the battle of the young paragons. It could be said that a storm was brewing. If you want to make a move, you can trample the Dragon Prince under your feet on this battlefield in front of the world. I don't think he will be able to break through. His Tao heart will probably collapse. Very well. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a biting cold light. First, he would shatter the Dragon Prince's Tao heart. Next, he would unite the power of the desolate tower and kill him together. He asked, when will the battle of the young paragons begin? 3 months later. 3 months was very fast. Lin Xian nodded. Okay, I will participate in this battle. By the way, the news of my return must not be spread. Otherwise, I'm afraid he won't dare to come. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a biting cold light. Chapter 51-55. The Battle of the Young Titans. The Dragon Prince initiated a battle that gathered all the young geniuses. Countless people were shocked. Those who thought they were top geniuses were ready to participate. Those who weren't qualified were also ready to watch. This was probably the most intense battle of all the top geniuses in the Yaoguang continent. Sure enough, more and more people gathered at the Saint Origin battlefield. That was the ancient battlefield where countless super mighty figures and peerless powerhouses had fought. It was enough for the young titans to have a good fight there. Countless families and sects, as well as the older generation powerhouses, were ready to watch. Perhaps a young supreme being would emerge from this battle. The 2 princes who had been confirmed to participate in the battle became 2 mountains in everyone's heart. The Dragon Prince and the Kunping child. These 2 were incomparably terrifying. Perhaps their existence could crush everything. However, there were also people who were confident. For example, Yi Wudao, Gu Feng, and the others were ready to participate. Among them, The ancient wind began to sweep in all directions. Previously, it was the Dragon Prince, Lin Xian, and the others who stood out. He had been unknown, but now he had cultivated the ancient void scripture to a terrifying level. Therefore, he challenged all the geniuses. One after another, the top powerhouses of the families and sects were defeated by him in less than 10 moves. This shocked countless people. Another peerless expert had appeared. Yi Wudao didn't challenge anyone, but someone else challenged him. In the end, he couldn't even block a punch from Yi Wudao. Countless people were shocked. They knew that these two were peerless geniuses who cultivated the ancient earth scripture. In addition to them, there was the overlord of the tyrants and the golden crows. There were even experts in the purple mansion realm who came out one after another. These people swept the world and made a name for themselves. They were preparing for the final battle. There was another person who took action, and that was Yao Guang. However, he was very low-key and didn't attack anyone. However, his figure was present in every battle. Among those who had lost, there would always be people who would mysteriously disappear. He was the one who assassinated them and swallowed their corpses. He cultivated the demonic heaven-devouring art, and no one knew what level he had reached. The time was getting closer and closer. There were many experts in the Saint Origin ancient city. There were already figures flickering on the battlefield. Those who had attacked before didn't take action. Instead, they began to cultivate in seclusion. They adjusted their physique to the peak and prepared for the strongest battle. In the last few days, these experts began to appear. They all headed to the Saint Origin battlefield. The Saint Origin battlefield was an ancient battlefield inside the ancient city. It was incomparably vast. Moreover, this place was very hard, so there was no need to worry about it being broken. Outside the battlefield, there was a sea of people. Countless experts had gathered. They were looking forward to it. Look, that's the Dragon Prince. They saw a figure standing there with his hands clasped behind his back. Tens of thousands of dragons circled around him, making him look like a peerless dragon god. He was the Dragon Prince. He was too powerful. Sensing the bloodline aura of the other party, countless people cried out in alarm. The people from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty were delighted. The young paragon is definitely our Dragon Prince. However, there were also people who snorted coldly. The people of the Sky Sect laughed. It was too early to speak. Dragon Prince is not invincible. Our Kunpeng Zi is the strongest. As he spoke, everyone looked over again. A man surrounded by a black and white aura descended. He was like a heavenly deity, his might overwhelming the surroundings. His aura was no weaker than the Dragon Prince's. In fact, it was even more terrifying. Its appearance made the Dragon Prince's eyes shine fiercely. The gazes of the two princes clashed and swept across the 9 heavens. Everyone was excited. They were finally going to witness the battle between the two princes. In addition to them, there was also a figure who was emitting purple light. Like a purple god of war, it was the Yi family's sage physique, Yi Wudao. With a stomp of his foot, the earth shook and the mountains shook. A terrifying aura rushed toward the two princes. Obviously, Yi Wudao was going to take out his true battle strength to challenge the princes. The void shattered, and a figure suddenly appeared. Countless people exclaimed, and even the pupils of the older generation shrank, because before this, they had not sensed anyone at all. It was the top genius of the Gu family, Gufeng. The ancient void scripture, the power of space, appeared and disappeared unpredictably. Countless people were shocked. The Dragon Prince and Kunpeng Zi also frowned. The sage physique was very terrifying and had infinite strength. The ancient void scripture had the legend that space was king. These two people could not be underestimated. Of course, they were very confident and fearless. In addition to them, the other powerhouses and geniuses also went up one after another. Standing on the Holy Abyss battlefield, one figure after another was like a god fiend. Look, that's the Overlord. That's the genius of the Golden Crow clan. That's the elite of the Purple Mansion realm. The 9 successors of the Purple Mansion realm this time were all very mysterious. Countless people exclaimed. A figure stood in the crowd, his eyes flickering. He was wearing a white robe and had a handsome face. It was Yao Guang. At this moment, he was extremely excited. Fight, it would be best if you all turned the world upside down and died. At that time, I'll devour all of you. Up until now, he had devoured many geniuses, but he had not devoured any princes. He really wanted to taste the princes. Who do you think will win in the end? I think there are a few people who have a chance. It's useless. I think the 2 princes are still the strongest. No one else can challenge the princes. As soon as these words came out, some people were unhappy. Who said that? Have you forgotten about Lin Wuti? Many people's faces changed when they heard that name. How could they forget that name? However, that name had become a taboo now. Who dared to mention it at this time? Who was so reckless? They turned their heads and looked. It was the people of the Divine Union. Countless people were shocked. Bai Susu and the others also came and stood there. Who said that the princes were undefeatable. Back then, Lin Wuti defeated the Dragon Prince with his own strength. Nothing is absolute in this world. I think Yi Wudao has a chance too. The others were silent. That was indeed the case. Some people said that it was a pity that Lin Wuti no longer existed. Many experts of the older generation sighed. A genius who had been crowned as a king had actually fallen. It was said that he had encountered heavenly punishment in the Yuhun continent. He had been beaten until his soul was destroyed. What a pity. If he was still alive, this battle would be even more exciting. Yes, a crowned king could definitely sweep through the 9 heavens. However, no matter how strong he was, he could not resist heavenly punishment. The people of the 1,000 Dragon Dynasty snorted coldly. A dead person was not qualified to be compared to the Dragon Prince. On the ancient battlefield, the Dragon Prince sneered when he heard that. Regardless of whether he is dead or not, if he dares to appear again, I can suppress him with one hand. There was a terrifying light in the Dragon Prince's eyes. He was now only a step away from the Great Sage Realm. After this ancient war, he would immediately break through to the Great Sage Realm. At that time, his strength would undergo a tremendous change. Even if Lin Wuti was alive, how could he fight with him? Chapter 51-56. Kun Peng Zi shook his head and sighed. Lin Wuti was very strong, but it was a pity that he couldn't fight with him. To be honest, he also wanted to fight with Lin Xian after he was crowned king. Unfortunately, Lin Xian had died. Yi Wudao's eyes flickered. He believed in Brother Lin. He had always felt that Lin Xian wouldn't die so easily. On the other side, Gu Feng snorted. Dead. He deserved it. He didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Had he died? On the Z Mansion's side, Qin Xianer's side, she didn't expect that Lin Xian had already died when they met again. Disappointment appeared in her eyes. At this moment, the Dragon Prince shouted coldly, "All right, there's no need to waste time on a dead person." The battle of the young paragons could begin. As his voice fell, the surrounding people became excited. Who would be the first to attack? The battle between the Dragon Prince and Kun Peng Zi would probably be the last. That was indeed the case. The 2 emperors' sons would not easily decide a victor. I'll go first. Qin Xianer walked out. She was dressed in red, and her face was so beautiful that it would shock anyone who saw her. A long sword appeared in her hand. The sword light was like water and carried a biting cold aura. She was so beautiful. Countless people exclaimed when they saw this scene. She was one of the successors of the Z Mansion. Who was she going to challenge? Qin Xianer stared at Gu Feng, and a cold light appeared in her eyes. Previously, some people had sighed at Lin Xian. However, Gu Feng had mocked and said that Lin Xian had died well. Qin Xianer couldn't stand it. Therefore, at this moment, she attacked Gu Feng. She pointed her sword forward. Countless people exclaimed. It was actually Gufeng. Gufeng's lips curled up into a smile. Fairy wants to challenge me? Come on then. He stood in the void and his figure swayed. He seemed to be independent of heaven and earth. To be honest, Gufeng's target this time was the two princes. Therefore, even if Qin Xianer was one of the successors of the magistrate, he didn't care at all. Qin Xianer's expression was cold. She stomped her feet and flew out like lightning. The autumn water sword in her hand slashed down, and the sword light turned into the only thing in the world. What a fast and terrifying sword technique. Countless people were shocked. Previously, they felt that Qin Xianer was overestimating herself by challenging Gufeng. But from the looks of it now, the other party definitely had the strength to do so. Probably not many people would be able to withstand this sword strike. As expected of a top genius, the successor of the Purple Mansion, no one who had come to the Holy Gulf battlefield was weak. Countless cries of surprise could be heard. Ancient Wind was also stunned. A terrifying sword technique? His figure flickered and instantly disappeared. The place where he had been standing had been torn apart by the sword chi. He appeared in another location. Qin Xianer attacked again, her sword chi sweeping across the land. Gufeng appeared and disappeared mysteriously. Suddenly, Qin Xianer became one with her sword. The sword stabbed out at an extremely fast speed. This time, Gufeng did not dodge, causing countless people to cry out in surprise. Could it be that he could not dodge? The corners of Qin Xianer's mouth curled up into a smile. However, in the next moment, she was stunned. That was because she saw Gufeng forming a seal. A crack appeared in front of him. It was a spatial crack that severed the heaven and earth. However, she felt as if she had entered a swamp, and her movements became difficult. She was actually unable to stab her opponent with her sword. What's going on? She was clearly very close. Why couldn't she hurt him? The surrounding young dancers were all stunned. So close yet so far. One of the older generation experts said in a deep voice, although it was only a meter away, the ancient wind had formed a folded space. The real distance was probably millions of miles away, so Qin Xianer could not hurt him at all. What? So terrifying. Folded space? What kind of technique was this? Countless people were shocked. Was this a spatial god art? It was too unbelievable. Qin Xianer also frowned. What a strange spatial god art. She formed a seal with her left hand and stretched out her fingers. Petals danced on her fingertips and charged forward. The void kept shattering. Peerless god art, void-shattering finger, specialized in shattering the void. It's useless. You're no match for me at all. Gufeng smiled in disdain and formed a seal again, forming a spatial barrier that directly enveloped Qin Xianer. Qin Xianer felt an invisible force that wanted to tear her body apart. She retreated. How could he be so strong? Qin Xianer's face turned pale. Although she was at the same level as him, his technique was too strange. Was this the inheritance of the great emperor? She suddenly felt a sense of despair. One had to know that as the successor of the Purple Mansion sect, she cultivated the god arts of the ancient sages. She was a top genius. Even if 10 of the other geniuses joined forces, they would not be able to block one of her attacks. However, even after learning so many god arts, compared to the inheritance of the great emperor, they were still too weak. The difference was like heaven and earth. Was the great emperor so terrifying? Qin Xianer's eyes were filled with loneliness. She did not attack again. The surrounding people also exclaimed. Gufeng was too strong. This Gufeng was unbelievably strong. The young geniuses were filled with despair. Some of them even shook their heads immediately. Previously, they still thought that they could attack Gufeng. Now, they did not dare to even if they were beaten to death. Gufeng stood there with his hands behind his back and said loudly, "It's useless. You're no match for me at all." Chapter 51-57. The collision between the immortal king and the overlord caused an earth-shattering sound. Then a figure retreated. The overlord pushed back, causing the ground to shake. One of his arms drooped down, and he could no longer feel it. He was too strong, although he was a top genius of the overlord tribe and a terrifying overlord body. He could even kill a mid-stage great sage with one punch, but he was suppressed by the other party. In the next moment, he stretched out his left hand and said again. At this moment, endless blood energy surged from his body, and the wind and clouds changed. Rays of light fell from the sky and landed on the overlord's body. The overlord roared, and his aura was powerful. His body kept growing, as if he had turned into a giant. Barbarian god Palm. This attack was like the resurrection of the ancient barbarian god. The power was several times stronger than before. Countless people were shocked. The overlord was so terrifying, and his power was probably very close to that of a great sage. Sure enough, the older generation people also looked serious. These people were only at the peak of Great Sage King, and they were already so terrifying. Lin Xian was also shocked. He knew how powerful Yi Wudao was. He had met the Overlord tribe before, and he had even fought with the Overlord. He didn't expect the Overlord tribe to be able to unleash such terrifying power. It was really shocking, but he believed that Yi Wudao could handle it, and the other party cultivated the ancient scripture of earth. At this moment, the Hellfire Dragon's voice rang in his mind. The Overlord tribe was fighting with the sacred body again, but unfortunately, it was just an ordinary Overlord body. Ordinary Overlord body, what did that mean? Lin Xian was confused. The Hellfire Dragon said, "Do you know that the sacred body has an archenemy, and that is the Overlord body?" But it was not an ordinary Overlord body, but the Overlord body of the heavens. Lin Xian was shocked. Was it very powerful? The Hellfire Dragon said, "Very powerful. I remember that the Overlord body of the heavens once killed a great sage body." Lin Xian was shocked. A great sage body dared to fight against a great emperor, but it was killed by the Overlord body of the heavens. That kind of physique must be extremely terrifying. The Overlord tribe was not to be underestimated. Boom! As he spoke, another earth-shattering sound came from the front. The Overlord used the barbarian god's palm, while Leif Daudenier opened his palm. Behind him was the phantom of an immortal king. This palm strike was even more powerful than before. Immortal kings descended from the 9 heavens, sweeping through the mortal world. The barbaric god's fist was suppressed once again. This time, the Overlord retreated. His blood and chi churned as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Were the members of the tyrants injured? It was still too difficult. The elder of the Earth sect shook his head and sighed. Even though the Overlord's physique was extraordinary, he did not possess the ancient Great Earth Scripture after all. "I actually lost, Overlord. My hands are numb, and I can't punch for a while." He laughed bitterly. "I didn't expect you to be so strong. Thank you for letting me win." Yi Daudenier said coolly. The illusions of the 9 heavens disappeared. The Overlord took a deep breath. He said that although he had lost, it did not mean that the tyrants had lost. The surrounding people were shocked. What did that mean? Could it be that there was an even more terrifying genius in the tyrants? If they remembered correctly, the tyrant was the number 1 genius of the tyrants. Even Leif Daudenier was taken aback. Kunpingzi frowned. Could it be? The Overlord laughed. "That's right. I'm not the number 1 genius of the tyrants. We have an even more terrifying genius in the tyrants. He's the tyrant body of the heavens." Kunpingzi was shocked. The other elders also exclaimed. The tyrant body of the heavens was such an ancient name. However, no one dared to underestimate him. These words were as heavy as a mountain, causing everyone to be terrified. The young geniuses did not understand. What was the tyrant body of the heavens? Was it very powerful? When the elders said that the tyrant body of the heavens had killed a sage physique, the young geniuses were stunned. This short sentence was enough to explain the terror of the tyrant body of the heavens. The members of the Yi family also frowned. That kind of physique had appeared again? 50,000 years ago, a sage physique had appeared in the Yi family. In the end, he was killed by the tyrant body of the heavens. How could they forget this matter? They did not expect that such a bloodline would appear in the tyrants again. Yi Daodenier took a deep breath and said coldly, "Is he here yet? I'll fight him." His eyes were filled with a fierce battle intent. The overlord said he was still cultivating in seclusion at the moment. However, don't worry, he will come out soon. All right, I'll wait for him. Yi Daodenier was also very confident. He was not afraid of anything. Yi Daodenier and Gu Feng showed their strength one after another. Everyone was shocked. These people were probably qualified to challenge the Emperor's son. The others were no match for them at all. For a moment, no one dared to challenge them. However, they all attacked each other. Among them, a few dazzling figures appeared. For example, a powerful genius walked out from the Golden Crow tribe. She was a woman. She was the Golden Crow Princess. Her strength and physique were also very strong. Her flames were even more terrifying. They could melt everything. Apart from the Dragon Prince, a few other top geniuses came out from the 1,000 Dragon Court. Among them was a person called Long Lei. Terrifying lightning circled around his body as he looked down on the Divine Union. Lin Wuti is dead. Is there no one in the Divine Union who can fight? I think you should disband as soon as possible. A cold voice was heard, causing the members of the Dragon Palace to laugh. How could the Divine Union be compared to the Dragon Tribe? The members of the Divine Union gnashed their teeth in anger. Everyone else had strange expressions on their faces. They looked like they were watching a show. Both the Dragon Palace and the Divine Union were factions of the True Path sect. Had the battle between them not ended yet? It seemed like it would continue. On the Divine Union's side, Bai Susu gritted her teeth. What was there to be arrogant about? She walked out. If you want to fight, I'll keep you company. After Bai Susu came out, she formed seals with her palms and formed 4 clones. They covered the sky and covered the earth. An earth-shattering power swept through the 9 heavens. Countless people were shocked. These were clones, right? Each of them was extremely terrifying. She could actually form 4 clones in an instant. How extraordinary. It seemed like the Divine Union had other top experts besides Lin Xian. Long Lei sneered. He was unmoved. Look at me. 10,000 thunder palm. He raised his palms and waved his dragon claws. Lightning gathered on them, forming a lightning net that covered the sky. The battle with Bai Susu was extremely intense. However, after 100 moves, a tail suddenly appeared behind Long Lei and struck Bai Susu's shoulder. Bai Susu was sent flying. A crack appeared on Bai Susu's shoulder, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. She was injured. Countless people were shocked. The members of the Divine Union were also shocked. Damn it, was that a hidden weapon? He actually had a tail. Those people gritted their teeth. The other party had hidden it too well. Long Lei snorted. You're just SO though. I think the Divine Union is trash. Chapter 5158. Long Lei was unusually arrogant. However, the strength displayed by his opponent was extremely terrifying. Even Bai Susu was defeated. It was likely that the other members of the Divine Union would not have a chance of winning. Lin Xian transmitted his voice through the void. Susu, come back. I will avenge you. Bai Susu walked back into the room. The people from the Divine Union hurriedly asked, Senior Sister Bai, are you all right? I'm fine, just a little injured. I didn't expect this guy to be hiding a tail. Bai Susu gritted her teeth and swallowed the pill. The people from Dragon Palace sneered. Without Lin Wuti, you are nothing. Surrender obediently as soon as possible. Otherwise, all of you will die without a burial ground. The people of Dragon Palace started to show off. Long Lei continued to clamor. Come on, if one of you isn't a match for him, I'll allow the two of you to fight him together. If all 10 of you come at me at once, I can suppress all of you with one hand. As long as they are from the Divine Union, I will accept their challenge. Bai Susu gritted her teeth. How arrogant! Nalan Nyan also snorted coldly. You said it yourself. When the people from the Divine Union arrive, you have to accept the challenge. Of course, there's no problem. I'm just afraid that you don't have any experts. Bai Susu sneered. Just you wait. They knew that Lin Xian was nearby. When the time came, they would see how the other party died. However, Long Lei did not care at all. After ruthlessly suppressing the divine dragon, he turned around and left proudly. Next, the geniuses of the Blue Tribe and the powerhouses of the Dragon Sea also challenged the Divine Union. He was very pleased with himself. Suddenly, everyone thought that the Divine Union was finished. After Lin Wudi's death, he was targeted by so many experts. He would probably end up in a miserable state. Next, the battle continued. Some other experts and geniuses tried to challenge the Crown Prince. In the end, the Dragon Prince and Kuan Peng Zi completely ignored him. Because their opponents were too weak, they did not have the qualifications to challenge them. They had no choice but to challenge Leaf Daudenier and Ancient Wind, and were defeated within 10 moves. After the Overlord regained his strength, he looked ahead. He looked at Kuan Peng Zi and said, I want to fight against the Crown Prince. Please give me a chance. Kuan Peng Zi nodded. As you wish. Take out your strongest technique. Although the conqueror was defeated, he was still a top genius and qualified to challenge them. Furthermore, he would be able to show everyone exactly how strong the Crown Prince was. Tyrant took a deep breath and roared as he threw a punch forward. Barbaric God's Palm. The terrifying palm covered the sky. In the face of such a terrifying attack, the Kunpeng only stretched out a finger and pointed forward. A black and white aura revolved around his finger. With a point of his finger, the mountains and rivers shattered. The barbarian god's palm shattered into pieces. The Overlord was also sent flying while coughing up blood. A bloody hole had appeared on his body. Fortunately, it wasn't a vital part. He knew that Kuan Peng Zi had already shown mercy. His scalp went numb. Many thanks for showing mercy. The surrounding people were all shocked. Wasn't this too powerful? Earlier, when Leaf Daudenier had fought back against the barbarian god's palm, he had used the immortal king descends to the 9 heavens. But now, Kuan Peng Zi had severely injured the tyrant with just a finger. What kind of power was this? Was this the strength of the Crown Prince? It was simply unimaginable. The laws of yin and yang are indeed powerful. I want to experience it for myself. Leaf Daudenier strode forward, his voice resounding. The others were all shaken. It seemed like a top-level battle was about to start. Kuan Peng Zi nodded. As you wish. He also wanted to experience the terror of the Yi family's unparalleled Saint Physique and the Heavenly Emperor Sutra. Leaf Daudenier didn't dare to be careless. In an instant, the purple light on his body condensed into the phantom of an immortal king. The immortal king descends to the 9 heavens. The terrifying phantom stood indomitable and suppressed the 8 desolates. Countless people were shocked. Did he use such a peerless technique as soon as he appeared? From the looks of it, Leaf Daudenier was also facing a great enemy. Facing this peerless technique, Kuan Peng Zi didn't use a single finger. Instead, he slapped out with his palm. His palm turned into a Kuan Peng that soared between heaven and earth. Heaven and earth shattered, an entire ancient battlefield shook. So powerful, countless people retreated. The immortal king and the Kuan Peng fought. A heaven-shaking voice resounded through heaven and earth. Laws swept out. At this moment, Leaf Daudenier took a step forward and instantly disappeared. When he appeared, he was already behind Kuan Peng Zi. A pair of fists charged towards Kuan Peng Zi's head. What fast speed! Countless people were shocked. Was this a spatial divine ability? They were all stunned. This speed made even the scalps of the Gu family tingle. Gu Feng's face darkened. The people of the heavenly sect said, 10,000 steps in an instant. This was a peerless movement technique in the Heavenly Emperor Sutra. It was a great emperor's divine ability. No wonder it was so powerful. This movement technique was no different from spatial teleportation. Kunpingzi was still not afraid. A pair of wings appeared on his back. The laws of yin and yang circulated on them and slashed behind, turning into two heavenly blades. They collided with Leaf Daodenier's fist. The surroundings trembled, and Leaf Daodenier retreated. The black and white heavenly blades attacked, but in an instant, Leaf Daodenier used it again. 10,000 steps in an instant. He dodged quickly. He came forward and merged with the heaven and earth phenomenon, the immortal king descending to the ninth heaven. He formed a seal with both hands and enveloped Kunpingzi. 10,000 miles of deity ground. A barrier formed in front of him as if it had turned into an immortal world. A mysterious aura bloomed. Kunpingzi felt a huge pressure. In this deity ground, Leaf Daodenier was the ruler. Kunpingzi shouted angrily. The other party had a great emperor's divine ability. Did he not have one? Yin and yang reversed, and heaven and earth were reversed. Black and white light bloomed in his eyes, and a terrifying yin and yang power swept out. The entire deity ground shook violently. Endless mountains and rivers were shattered, and the sky was destroyed. It was a scene of the end of the world. Even the primordial battlefield outside was shaking nonstop. The surrounding people felt a terrifying aura that was about to tear their bodies apart. It was too terrifying. They retreated frantically. Boom! The deity ground in front of them shattered. Kunpingzi charged out powerfully. He covered yin and yang with one hand and attacked Leaf Daodenier. He sent Leaf Daodenier flying. Was he defeated? Countless people were shocked. Kunpingzi was too strong. However, Leaf Daodenier roared. Although cracks appeared on his body, they quickly healed. His recovery ability was too strong. Countless people were shocked. The ancient Tao Heart Sutra. Gu Feng gritted his teeth. The Dragon Prince also narrowed his eyes. The Yi family had a great emperor, who was called Celestial Emperor Yi. He was an extremely powerful figure, and the Celestial Emperor Sutra he left behind was all-encompassing. All kinds of divine abilities were endless. This recovery power was one of the ultimate techniques in the Heaven and Earth Sutra. He didn't expect Leaf Daodenier to cultivate this too. Was he going to become the second Celestial Emperor of the Yi family? So strong. Lin Xian was also surprised. These great emperors' ancient sutras were really terrifying. It seemed that none of the people in front of him were weak. He felt his blood boil. The others were even more surprised. Leaf Daodenier was not defeated and still had the strength to fight. The other party had the strength to compete with the imperial son. He was probably an uncrowned king. Chapter 51-59. Next, Yi Wudao and Kunpingzi fought again. All kinds of great emperor secret techniques appeared. Although Yi Wudao was suppressed and at a disadvantage, he wasn't defeated. This shocked everyone. Even if Yi Wudao wasn't crowned as a king, he had the right to do so. He was known as the uncrowned king. It would be difficult to determine the winner in a short time. Great! The Yi family was overjoyed. Their nurturing was not in vain. As expected, Dallas had a supreme demeanor. The Dragon Prince's eyes shone with a cold light. This was interesting. As expected, every great emperor was unique, seizing the fortune of heaven and earth. I wonder how the void ancient scripture is? He stared at Gu Feng. Gu Feng looked solemn. He snorted and charged forward. His body disappeared instantly. In an instant, he was above the 9 heavens. With a wave of his hands, countless cracks appeared in the void. Void exile. He wanted to exile the Dragon Prince into the darkness of the universe. Everyone was shocked. It was too powerful. It was really a fierce battle. They were extremely excited. Such a battle might not be seen once in a few thousand years. The others on the battlefield retreated. They didn't have the strength to participate in such a battle. Moreover, the energy storm could easily injure them. Hence, they retreated to the edge. The place where the Dragon Prince was instantly swallowed by the darkness and disappeared. The people of the Dragon Palace were nervous, but the people of the 1,000 Dragon Dynasty sneered. It was impossible to defeat the Dragon Prince. Indeed, not long after, a dragon claw covered the sky and tore through the void. The Dragon Prince came back from the universe and roared furiously. True Dragon 9 transformations. The terrifying giant dragon rolled, and every time it did so, it would destroy the heavens and earth. Gufeng felt a huge threat. He swept his hands in all directions. So close yet so far. Endless folded space condensed, and terrifying power entered the folded space. Although it looked dangerous, it couldn't hurt him. Void God Finger. After getting rid of the danger, Gufeng pointed with his finger. There were endless, mysterious Tao runes on his finger. This was a supreme technique of the Void Scripture. His finger disappeared in an instant. No one knew where it would come from. Boom! All of a sudden, he dashed out in front of the Dragon Prince, aiming for the Dragon Prince's glabella. This finger was capable of destroying everything. The Dragon Emperor was infuriated and struck out with his palm. However, this palm was a combination of illusion and reality. It actually struck empty air. An extremely terrifying radiance erupted from his eyes. Eyes of the divine dragon. Divine light shot out from his eyes, shattering everything. Master Hollow God was blocked. Then the Dragon Prince strode forward. You have angered me. Terrifying killing intent appeared in his eyes as he charged towards Gufeng. Heavenly Dragon Hand. He stretched out his arm and tore the 9 heavens apart. Gufeng kept dodging, and the two of them started fighting again. The Dragon Prince was very terrifying, and he was angry, so Gufeng was in danger. Fortunately, he cultivated the space god art, so he could rely on his elusive movement technique to avoid danger many times. But even so, he was still at a disadvantage. A great battle broke out on the 2 battlefields, and the 2 imperial princes displayed their might. However, the more Leaf Daudenier and Ancient Wind fought, the fiercer they became. He didn't seem to be defeated at all. This left countless people shocked. 2 crowned kings, 2 uncrowned kings. It really was too shocking. The battle continued for 500 moves. Suddenly, both sides exploded with power and retreated. The 4 of them spread out in all directions and faced each other. A terrifying aura spread out in all directions. The surrounding people didn't dare to say a word. Their hearts were in their mouths. It was too shocking. Leaf Daudenier didn't attack Kuin Pingzi anymore. Instead, he turned around and looked at Gufeng. He used the Immortal King, descends to the 9 heavens, and charged over. Gufeng also charged over. Void God Finger. A great battle broke out between the 2 sides, and countless people became excited. The 2 uncrowned kings were fighting. What about the 2 crowned kings? They looked at the 2 imperial princes. The Dragon Prince said, I said that I will defeat you with my own hands. I am the strongest imperial prince. He used the true Dragon 9 transformations and charged over. The 9 dragons roared together, and at the same time their eyes were filled with a destructive divine light that swept through everything. Kuan Pingzi snorted coldly. You don't have the right. He seemed to have turned into the god of yin and yang, and he was incomparably powerful. Yin and yang alternated, and the universe was reversed. The terrifying world shattered, and the 2 imperial princes finally began to fight. This time the power was too terrifying. Even Leaf Daudenier and Gufeng quickly retreated. They pulled away. The battle between the two imperial princes could destroy everything. The four of them fought for another 600 moves and stood in four directions again. Everyone's face was a little solemn. It seemed that if they didn't use their trump cards, they wouldn't be able to determine the winner. The Dragon Prince snorted coldly. I didn't expect that other than Linwoody, you two would appear. It seems that I have to take out my real trump card. The Dragon Prince's bloodline erupted. A terrifying aura spread between heaven and earth. Leaf Daudenier and Gufeng looked solemn. Was the final battle about to begin? Kuan Pingzi also nodded. It was time to determine the winner. Countless people were excited. They knew that the young paragon would be born between the four of them. They wondered who it would be. The Dragon Prince's aura became more and more terrifying. He had originally prepared this move to deal with Lin Xian. However, it was a pity that he was dead. Well, I'll use this move to send you guys on your way. He was ready to attack. At this moment, an iron staff fell from the sky. Who dares to say that my brother Lin is the younger brother? With a boom, heaven and earth shattered. The Dragon Prince's pupils constricted, and he quickly retreated. Kuan Pingzi, Gufeng, and Leaf Daudenier also dodged quickly. The area in front of them instantly turned into chaos. Another expert had arrived. Who was it that could scare off four top-notch experts? Everyone looked carefully. It's him. Some of the older generation exclaimed. They saw a monkey holding an iron staff, walking in the air. Wasn't that the monkey who had been crowned king? Back then, this monkey had attacked Kuan Pingzi and the Dragon Prince. They didn't expect him to appear again. It's you. The Dragon Prince's face became extremely cold. This monkey was with Lin Xian. He had once made him grit his teeth. The surrounding people also felt their scalps go numb. For example, the geniuses of the Blue Clan and the Dragon Sea Clan were terrified. How could they forget that there was such a monkey? He was also on the side of the Divine Union. If the other party attacked them, would they be able to withstand it? At the thought of this, they felt a lingering fear. However, they soon laughed. No matter how strong the other party was, could he defeat the Dragon Prince? The Dragon Prince was definitely the strongest now. After killing this monkey, they would destroy the Divine Union. They would see who would dare to go against them. The Dragon Prince's face was extremely cold. Monkey, I prepared a move for Lin Xian. He won't be able to use it, but it can send you to hell. The Dragon Prince's body exploded with a fierce killing intent, sweeping across the 9 heavens. Sun Qitian shouted coldly, pointing his iron staff forward. You couldn't do anything to me before. Do you think you can hurt me now? Ridiculous. I'll suppress you today. He was fearless. However, at this moment, a faint voice was heard. Brother Monkey, let me deal with him. Chapter 5160. Brother Monkey, you don't have to do anything. Let me deal with him. Everyone was stunned when they heard the voice. Who dared to say such big words and call the other party Brother Monkey? Could it be? They thought of a possibility, but it was quickly denied. Wasn't that person already dead? The void in the distance was broken and a figure walked out. Everyone raised their heads and was shocked. It's really him. He's still alive. Great. He's here. The people of the Divine Union were excited. Yi Wudao's lips curled up. I knew it. He couldn't have died. The people of the Dragon Palace were stunned. How could this be? He's still alive. The people of the Blue Tribe were so scared that they almost fainted. Lin Xian, you're still alive? The Dragon Prince gritted his teeth. This was really unexpected. Didn't they say that Lin Xian died in sky punishment? Why is he here? Sun Qitian laughed out loud. Great. Brother Lin, I knew it. You won't die. Countless voices were heard. Lin Xian's appearance caused a commotion. The older generation experts and terrifying geniuses were all shocked. A dead person was standing in front of them again. He wasn't dead. He had survived sky punishment. Oh my God, the Crown King was still alive. He was indeed a Crown King. This battle was going to be interesting. Everyone was excited. Lin Xian was also the Crown King. Who would be stronger in this battle between the young paragons? Would Lin Xian and the Dragon Prince fight again? Who would win and who would lose this time? Countless questions arose in their hearts. Kunpingzi's eyes were shining with a cold radiance. Looks like we can still stand against each other. He stared at Lin Xian with a cold radiance in his eyes. Lin Xian nodded. As you wish. However, now is not the time. I'll settle my grudges first. Lin Xian's gaze swept in all directions. He stared at a figure Long Lei. He took a step forward and stood in front of the other party. You dared to attack the people of the Divine Union and hurt my friend? Lin Xian looked down from above and asked coldly. Long Lei was so scared that she started to tremble. Her face was even uglier than crying. He dared to make a move before because he knew that Lin Wuti was dead and the Dragon Prince was behind him. That was why he dared to attack the Divine Dragon. Now that he was facing Lin Wuti, he wouldn't dare even if he had 100 guts. You, what do you want? The Dragon Prince is here. Don't be too arrogant. Long Lei gritted his teeth and said. Lin Xian raised his hand and sent him flying with a slap. The dragon lightning turned into a bloody mist, its body and soul destroyed. Dead. Countless people were terrified. Long Lei was also a genius of his generation, a top-notch expert. Previously, he had swept through many experts. But in front of Lin Xian, he couldn't even withstand a single slap. This gave everyone a great shock. The 10,000 dragon dynasties, people's pupils constricted. How dare you? They shouted angrily. Why wouldn't I dare? Lin Xian turned around and stared at the blue race. You've attacked the Divine Union before, right? He sent out another slap. The blue race's elite shouted crazily, trying to block it. But with a single slap, he turned into a bloody mist. Another one died. Everyone's hearts beat wildly. He was too strong. He killed with a single blow, not giving his enemy any chance to survive. After the blue race, Long Hai, the Golden Crow race, and the Purple Mansion race all had top geniuses who were turned into bloody mists by Lin Xian. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen top geniuses had fallen. These people couldn't even withstand a single slap. The others were terrified, as if they were facing a great enemy. As for the sects and families, they were gnashing their teeth. Damn it! Lin Xian didn't care about these people. He came to Qin Xianer's side and smiled. How serious were the injuries from before? Qin Xianer's eyes were red. She shook her head. She was fine. Her foundation wasn't damaged. Lin Xian said, Don't worry, I'll avenge you. He turned around and stared at Gu Feng, his eyes shining with a cold light. It's time to settle our grudges. If you apologize to Qin Xianer obediently now, I can spare you later. What a joke. What right do you have to look for me? Do I need you to spare me? Gu Feng snorted coldly. Lin Xian, you're too arrogant. You killed more than a dozen top geniuses the moment you arrived. How dare you threaten me now? Although you're the Crown King, I'm also an existence that cultivates the ancient scripture of Earth. I can even challenge the Thearchus Sun, let alone you. I've long wanted to attack you. I'm not very satisfied with the title of the uncrowned king. I want to kill you and obtain the title of the Crown King. I'm afraid you don't have the strength. Lin Xian strode forward. Then he slapped out. Gu Feng snorted coldly and struck out a huge crack. The collision between the two was earth-shattering. The void above the 9 heavens was broken in an instant. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people retreated one after another. Another 2 young giants were fighting. The people of the Gu family were extremely nervous. Although Gu Feng's strength had increased greatly, Lin Wuti was too strong before. Everyone had heard of his reputation and rumors. Now that he had returned to the Yuhun continent, how strong would he be now? The elders of the Gu family said that with Gu Feng's talent, he would definitely not be defeated this time. Even when he fought with the Dragon Prince previously, he was only at a disadvantage. Fighting with Linwoody, there wouldn't be any accidents. Maybe the two of them would be evenly matched. Everyone was looking forward to it. Gu Feng's previous performance was enough to shock everyone. Therefore, they really wanted to see the next battle. To what extent would it reach? Gu Feng snorted coldly. Kid, I'll let you know my recent strength. He roared angrily and took the initiative to attack. Void Exile. 24 large cracks enveloped Lin Xian, forming an endless black hole that swallowed Lin Xian. This move was very terrifying. Previously, the Dragon Prince was banished into the void. However, Lin Xian stood there with monstrous sword qi on his body. Countless spatial cracks couldn't swallow him. Oh God, he wasn't banished. Did the power of space lose its effect? This Linwoody was already so strong. Exclamations sounded one after another. The people of the Gu family were also shocked. It was impossible. Void Exile didn't have any effect at all. Even if the other party was banished and returned in an instant, they could accept it. But now that Lin Xian wasn't banished at all, they really couldn't accept it. What a strong physique. Yi Wudao stood in the distance, shocked. The Dragon Prince's face darkened. Why? He had a feeling of uneasiness. This Linwoody, had he become stronger recently? Lin Xian stood there, allowing the countless large cracks to envelop him. He was fearless as he looked forward and said coldly, "It's useless. You're not my opponent at all. Not in the past, not now, and not in the future." Apologize to Qin Xianer obediently. You want me to apologize? Dream on. Gu Feng was also angry. Void, great destruction. He formed a seal with his palm, and the power of bloodline erupted. The great emperor's ancient scripture was activated, and the 24 cracks instantly exploded, emitting a destructive aura. It wanted to tear everything apart. This was a peerless technique that could destroy countless worlds. Chapter 5161. Sensing this destructive aura, Lin Xian snorted coldly and clenched his fist. Six-path fist. He punched out with an indomitable will and collided with the destructive power. He charged out forcefully. The destructive spatial cracks were all shattered by him. He charged forward like a god of war. It's useless. I told you, you're no match for me. Seeing this scene, countless people were stunned. Oh heavens, he shouted again. The people from the Gu family frowned. Damn it, another divine power has been broken. What was going on? The people from the Thousand Dragon Dynasty, the Yi family, and even the Heaven sect were also frowning. Has Gu Feng become weaker? That's impossible. Previously, Gu Feng was able to withstand thousands of moves from the Dragon Prince. How powerful was that? But now, he could not do anything to Lin Xian at all. Could it be? They thought of a possibility, but upon closer inspection, they realized that Lin Xian's aura was not that terrifying. Looking at the figure charging towards him, Gu Feng's face turned cold. He did not run away. With a wave of his sleeve, he used Boundless Horizon. A folded space appeared in front of him. It enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian felt as if he had entered a quagmire, although he was less than a meter away from his opponent. However, this punch did not seem to be able to hit his opponent at all. Useless brat, your understanding of spatial divine powers is too shallow. Let me show you what it means to be the king of space. Gu Feng stood there looking down like a god. Great, he got hit. The people from the country heaved a sigh of relief. I knew it. How could Gu Feng's method be ineffective? Now that Gu Feng was about to show his power, he was going to beat Lin Xian up. I can't hit you? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. It's just a folded space. A cold light burst out from his eyes, and his fist suddenly exploded. With a bang, the folded space shattered. Gu Feng took a punch to the face and was sent flying. His body flew into the distance like a kite with a broken string, directly shattering the void. He landed on the battlefield. The entire battlefield shook violently and countless shattered black holes floated between heaven and earth. What happened? Everyone was stunned. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The eyes of the Gu clan's people almost popped out of their sockets. Prince Dragon, Leaf Daudenier, and the others all gasped. That was impossible. The older generation experts cried out in surprise. Folding space. A distance of 1 meter could be folded millions of miles. Their attacks couldn't hit him at all. Leaf, Daudenier, Dragon Prince, and Kuan Pingzi had all been blocked by the folded space. But now, Lin Xian actually sent Gu Feng flying with a single punch. How did it do that? This guy. Kuan Pingzi's eyes flickered. The Dragon Prince's face was gloomy and cold. Gu Feng, who was in the distance, roared crazily. His face was badly damaged, but it was slowly recovering. His eyes were red and filled with killing intent. Damn it, what's going on? His brain was blank. Damn kid, I'm going to kill you. He quickly charged over. Void Godfinger. He pointed out with his finger, appearing and disappearing like a ghost. When he reappeared, he was already at Lin Xian's forehead. It wanted to pierce through his soul. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Demon Godfinger. Facing this attack, he was still fearless. He also pointed out with his finger. There were extremely terrifying demonic runes on it. The two collided, shaking heaven and earth. At the last moment, the Void Godfinger shattered and broke in half. Gu Feng screamed and retreated. White bones appeared on his finger. That was impossible. Nothing was impossible. He said that he was no match for him. Lin Xian attacked. Demon God Seal. With one strike, a large black seal enveloped heaven and earth. Gu Feng's pupils constricted. He instantly merged into the void and disappeared, appearing on the other side. However, he was then chased by Lin Xian. If it weren't for his spatial powers, he would have been defeated long ago. Even so, he didn't have the strength to fight back. Too powerful. Countless people were shocked by the scene. As expected of Lin Wuti, the person who was crowned as a king was even better than that. Yes, Gu Feng was at a disadvantage when fighting the Dragon Prince. He was still suppressed when fighting Lin Wuti. Moreover, he didn't even have the strength to fight back. It seemed that he was still far inferior to Lin Wuti. Some experts commented one after another. The faces of the Gu family members darkened. He couldn't compare to Lin Wuti? Damn it. The faces of the people from the 10,000 Dragon Court were cold. It seemed that Lin Wuti's strength had also increased. They wondered if the Dragon Prince had the confidence to defeat him this time. When Gu Feng heard those people's discussion, he was exasperated. He had always been suppressed by Lin Xian, whether it was in the second astral realm or after coming to the hidden Emperor Star. Lin Xian's strength had surpassed his. Now that he cultivated the void ancient scripture, he thought that he could change the situation. He was even very happy that Lin Xian had died. But now that Lin Xian had returned alive and suppressed him, he couldn't tolerate it. Sky-severing palm. With an angry roar, he no longer dodged and struck out with his palm. This strike cut off heaven and earth. The void palm covered the sky and earth, wanting to refine Lin Xian. You're courting death. Lin Xian snorted coldly and waved his arm. Sword Qi shot up into the sky one after another, causing the giant palm in the air to shake nonstop. Then he used Shadowless Heaven's net, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. Azura sword technique, fourth sword. When the sword slashed out, it shocked heaven and earth. Gu Feng hurriedly used it as if he was facing a great enemy. He hid in the void. However, how could he escape? If he was in the same realm as Lin Xian, it would be easy for him to escape. After all, he also cultivated the great emperor's ancient scripture. But now, Lin Xian had become a great sage, and his strength had changed drastically. Moreover, he also used the great emperor's ancient scripture. In addition, the great dragon sword soul had an indestructible power. This sword directly pierced through the void. A figure spat out blood and flew out. Half of his body was split open and blood dripped down. Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene. Gu Feng was injured. He was almost split in half. It was too shocking. Damn it, Gu Feng's broken body had healed, and there was a mysterious aura on it. It recovered. He attacked again. Void seal. He formed a seal with his palm and slapped out. 81 seals between heaven and earth attacked Lin Xian. They hit Lin Xian's body, making a loud clanging sound. Lin Xian roared, and the 9-yang divine body bloomed, blocking everything. Another sword slashed out. Gu Feng spat out blood again. This time he was completely split open. He screamed and fell into the sea of blood. No. Why? Why can you injure me? Gu Feng was completely dumbfounded. Although he was at a disadvantage in the battle with the Dragon Prince, he didn't suffer such serious injuries. Could it be that Lin Wudi was even more terrifying than the Dragon Prince? The others were also dumbfounded. Some of the older generation were shocked. The people of the Gu family had gone crazy. Yi Wudao's pupils shrank, and the Dragon Prince's face darkened. Could it be? At this moment, they all had a thought, and this thought was enough to shock them. Chapter 5162. Why did he lose so miserably? Gu Feng roared crazily. He couldn't accept it. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Stupid thing. Do you really not understand the difference between us? You and I are not in the same realm. If you hadn't cultivated the ancient void scripture, you would have died 100 times. A cold voice sounded, making Gu Feng despair. In the next moment, he seemed to have thought of something and roared in horror. Not in the same realm. Could it be that you have broken through to become a supreme sage? The surrounding spectators also gasped. Indeed, they also had the same thought. Even the crown prince couldn't beat Gu Feng to such a miserable state. After all, they didn't use any extreme weapons. Now that Lin Xian had injured Gu Feng so easily, there was only one explanation. That meant that Lin Xian's strength was more than 10 times stronger than before. And such a change in strength could only be caused by a breakthrough in cultivation. However, Lin Xian's cultivation wasn't that terrifying, so they were confused before. Lin Xian stood there and said proudly, "That's right, I'm already a supreme sage now." Boom! Boom! His voice was like thunder from the 9 heavens, causing everyone to be stunned. He had broken through. He had really broken through. Countless people exclaimed. The experts of the remote antiquity families and the peerless sects gasped. The people of the Gu family and the Yi family were also shocked. The people of the 1,000-dragon court instantly had ugly expressions. The people of the 3 Dao children's side exclaimed. One had to know that the battle between the young giants was a competition of cultivation, trump cards, and divine abilities. The 4 people in front of them were all peak sage kings. Although there was a difference in bloodline, they all cultivated the ancient earth scripture. Therefore, it was difficult to determine the winner. Even if the 2 crown princes had the upper hand, it wouldn't be easy for them to defeat the other 2. There was only one situation where they could win completely, and that was to break through to become a supreme sage first. This was also the reason why the dragon prince wanted to hold the supreme battle. They had already reached a bottleneck in their cultivation and needed a life-and-death battle. They needed pressure to break through. But now, Lin Xian had broken through ahead of time, which ruined the Dragon Prince's plan. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian was probably above everyone. Damn it, I don't believe it. You broke through? Gu Feng roared furiously, charging over again. Using his spatial divine art, he appeared behind Lin Xian and struck out with the great palm print and the sky-severing palm. However, Lin Xian sent him flying with a kick. This was a complete beating. Gu Feng felt despair. The other party had really broken through. Lin Xian chased after him with large strides. Shadowless Heaven's net's speed was unpredictable. The heavenly secrets, sacred, are locked onto the other party. At the same time, the unstoppable sword qi in his hand descended. Gu Feng screamed miserably as his body shattered several times. Lin Xian sneered and apologized to Qin Xianer. Gu Feng spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, they've gone too far. Lin Xian coldly snorted. He drew the 100,000 Devil Mountains, suppressing heaven and earth. When you attacked Qin Xianer, did you think that you were going too far? If you don't apologize, don't blame me for killing you. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Boom! Gu Feng shouted angrily. Suddenly, an extremely terrifying aura erupted from his body, capable of destroying heaven and earth. Everyone's hair stood on end. The might of the extreme Tao. It seemed that the void mirror was also on the other party. Gu Feng descended like a god. At this moment, he was extremely powerful. Kid, do you want me to use my final trump card? Feeling the extreme Tao Qi, Lin Xian was still not afraid. Do you think you're the only one with an extreme Tao weapon? Besides, isn't this a battle between young sovereigns? Do you want to use an extreme Tao weapon? Do you want to be ridiculed by the world? Someone like you wants to be crowned a king? How dare you call yourself a sovereign? Do you have any shame? Don't make me look down on you. Lin Xian sneered. Gu Feng's face turned ugly. He did not make a move. The others were also discussing this matter. Lin Xian's coronation was equivalent to reaching the peak of the sacred Abyss Tower. It was obtained with one's own strength. Whether it was Lin Xian, the Dragon Prince, or Kun Peng, none of them were able to use an extreme Tao weapon when they ascended the sacred Abyss Tower. This was the result of countless trials and tribulations. Now, Gu Feng wanted to forcefully use an extreme Tao weapon. This was already a sign of admitting defeat. Moreover, would he be able to kill Lin Xian with just an extreme grade weapon? Everyone did not think so. Previously, the Dragon Prince had also used the 10,000 Dragons diagram and was also helpless against Lin Xian. On the Divine Union's side, the Crimson Dragon snorted. Hurry up and get lost. Don't embarrass yourself. Toad sneered. You dare to participate in the battle between sovereigns? Is there no one else in the Gu family? The people beside him mocked and ridiculed while the others discussed. The Gu family was trembling with anger. Gu Feng also shouted angrily, "Shut up! Kid, just you wait." He did not continue to fight. Instead, he stayed in the void with a gloomy expression. Lin Xian did not let him off. I said, apologize to Qin Xing. Otherwise, even if you use the void mirror today, I will still make you regret it. Countless terrifying black holes appeared around Lin Xian. Everyone's face turned ugly. If the two extreme Tao weapons were used, the primordial battlefield would be penetrated. The Gu family expert shouted angrily, Lin Wudi, don't be too presumptuous. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly. I am presumptuous. What can you do about it? With a wave of his hand, the terrifying black holes charged towards the Gu family. The Gu family elders were scared out of their wits. They all used spatial teleportation to escape quickly. When they arrived on the other side, their faces turned green. Damn it, this was a lunatic. He did things without any scruples. Should he apologize? Lin Xian sneered. The Gu family members were helpless. An elder said, Gu Feng, apologize to Fairy Qin. Fairy Qin does not have the strength of an emperor. It is not appropriate for you to attack her. Gu Feng gritted his teeth. Was he asking him to bow down? However, he was in a difficult position now. If they really fought, he would not be able to gain any advantage. Therefore, after thinking for a long time, he gritted his teeth and said, Fairy Qin, I am sorry. I was rude before. I hope you don't blame me. No, it was nothing. Qin Xing, Er's mind was blank. She had never thought that Gu Feng would apologize to her. He was a young powerhouse, an existence above the 9 heavens. Of course, all of this was because of Lin Xian. The surrounding people went crazy. An emperor-level genius actually lowered his head. This Lin Wuti was too domineering. Lin Wuti snorted coldly. I will spare your life today. Next time, I will not let you off so easily. After saying that, he turned to look at the Dragon Prince and said coldly, let me see what kind of breakthrough you have recently. I hope you won't disappoint me. The surrounding people were in an uproar. Countless people widened their eyes in disbelief. Heavens, was Lin Wuti going to attack the Dragon Prince? Exclamations sounded one after another. From the moment he appeared, he had killed more than 10 geniuses and then beaten up Gu Feng. He made Gu Feng bow his head and apologize. Then he directly challenged the Dragon Prince. His speed was so fast and his attitude was so strong that it exceeded everyone's strength. The expressions of the people from the 10,000 dragons court changed. No, now that Lin Xian had broken through, he was above the emperor. If he fought the Dragon Prince now, wouldn't that be bullying? The elder of the nest of 10,000 dragons stood out. Lin Xian, don't go too far. You are already a great sage. What right do you have to challenge the Dragon Prince? That's right. If you want to fight, suppress your cultivation and fight at the same level as the Dragon Prince. Chapter 5163. The people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty roared. They wouldn't allow this battle to happen. Looking at this scene, Lin Xian smiled. Why are you afraid? I'm not challenging you. Do you have the right to talk to me? He turned to look at the Dragon Prince and said coldly, Why? As the son of the Dragon Emperor, you don't even have the courage to talk to me? Shut up. How dare you? An elder of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty walked out and shouted coldly, If you want to fight with the Dragon Prince, suppress your cultivation. That's right, otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. Even if you win, it's an unfair victory. Angry shouts sounded one after another. Lin Xian laughed out loud when he heard that. He looked down at the 8 barren lands and said in a clear voice, Unfair victory? Suppressing cultivation? What a joke! Let me ask you, what was the Dragon Prince's cultivation during the coronation? What was my cultivation? When he fought with me, did he suppress his cultivation? As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. The people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty also had ugly expressions because they remembered that the Dragon Prince was at the peak of his cultivation during the coronation. Lin Xian was only at the late stage, so there was a difference of 1 realm between them. When the 2 of them fought, the Dragon Prince didn't suppress his cultivation. Why? Do you remember now? Back then, the Dragon Prince was 1 realm higher than me. Didn't I still fight with him? Did I ask him to suppress his cultivation? Where were you guys back then? Why didn't you say that the Dragon Prince had an unfair victory? Back then, I was 1 realm lower than him, but I could still injure him. Now that he's 1 realm lower than me, does he not have confidence? Lin Xian stared at the Dragon Prince with a piercing gaze. Do you dare to fight with me? If you don't, then you're a piece of trash. From now on, you have no right to fight with me. You don't deserve to be my enemy. You, the people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty, roared angrily. They could tell that Lin Xian's words were aimed at the Dragon Prince's heart. Even if the Dragon Prince didn't fight, this matter would still be a knot in his heart. It would probably leave a shadow, which was very fatal for martial arts cultivation. How did you break through? The Dragon Prince asked coldly, his eyes dark. Lin Xian laughed heartily when he heard this. You really disappoint me. You actually didn't accept my challenge. Instead, you asked me how I broke through. Are you envious? Well, as the son of the Dragon Emperor, you don't seem to put anyone in your eyes. You think you're the most talented, so you should be the first to break through, right? You have an emperor race as resources, and you have the strongest bloodline, but you still break through slower than me. Your talent is far inferior to mine. What qualifications do you have to be arrogant in front of me? I, Lin Xian, don't have the imperial bloodline, and don't have the imperial bloodline to rely on. And yet, I broke through to the great sage level before you did. There was no need to compare who was stronger or weaker. You are not qualified to be my opponent. Lin Xian retracted his gaze and stood in the air with his hands behind his back. It's lonely at the top. Being invincible is really lonely. Countless people looked up. The people of the Divine Union raised their arms and cheered. Invincible, great sage. The others were also shocked. Had the previous Lin Wuti grown to such a level? Had he suppressed the Dragon Emperor so much that he couldn't even raise his head? The Dragon Emperor was furious. Shut up. Who says I don't dare to fight? So what if you break through? I can still defeat you. The Dragon Emperor's battle intent gradually exploded. Prince, you can't. The people of the 1,000 Dragon Dynasty were anxious. The Dragon Emperor waved his hand. Everyone, there's no need to say any more. I believe in my bloodline and talent. Not to mention that he's just an early-stage great sage. I can even kill mid-stage or late-stage great sage people. Needless to say, it was him. I won't be afraid of this battle, and I won't lose. Lin Wuti, make your move. I'll let you know that the difference in cultivation is nothing to the Emperor's son. Oh, you want to make a move? Okay, I'll let you use one hand. Lin Xian only stretched out one hand and waved it forward. Make your move, or you won't have a chance. Damn it, you dare to underestimate me. The Dragon Emperor shouted angrily and charged over. True Dragon 9 transformations. 9 giant dragons circled around his body. Each time they rolled, they brought with them a destructive power. Lin Xian's demon god seal hit the true Dragon 9 transformations, and cracks appeared on it. The Dragon Emperor retreated. Damn, so strong! For the first time, he was shocked. That power made him feel a trace of fear. Lin Xian scoffed coldly. Is this all you've got? You can't even take a single hit. Don't disappoint me. Take out your strongest technique. Ah, Dragon God Fist. The Dragon Emperor clenched his fists and waved them about. Each fist drew out a true dragon. They danced in the air. It was also the Dragon Emperor's technique. Lin Xian used the 6-path fists to fight back. His unstoppable power shattered those true dragons. The 6-path world suppressed one another. At the same time, he said that he was too weak and that he couldn't do it. There was only one reason why he was so arrogant, and that was to target the Tao heart of the Dragon Prince. He knew that it was impossible for him to kill the Dragon Emperor in such a situation, but he wouldn't let him off. He wanted to shatter his Tao heart. He wanted to make him feel despair. To a genius, despair and a stagnant cultivation was worse than death. This was Lin Xian's goal. His words hit the Dragon Emperor's heart. The Dragon Prince was really mad. A golden light flashed in Lin Xian's eyes. His powerful eye technique combined with his sharp words. He said coldly, "It seems like even if I give you a handicap of one hand, you won't be my match. Okay, I'll let you see the strength of a great saint." After saying that, he formed a seal. The Taiji diagram appeared and slapped forward. Yin and Yang energy covered the sky and sent the Dragon Emperor flying. One of the Dragon Emperor's arms broke and cracks appeared on his body. The Dragon Emperor's blood scattered in the sky. No, Prince, the people from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty went crazy. The others were shocked too. Kuan Peng Zi's pupils constricted. How did he know the power of Yin and Yang? His eyes shone with a black and white light as he stared at the Taiji diagram. At that moment, the others were shocked too. This Lin Xian actually knew the power of Yin and Yang. Why do I feel like his Yin and Yang laws aren't weaker than Kuan Peng Zi's? Heavens, he actually had such a trump card. The Dragon Emperor spat out blood and flew backward. His face was pale. How was that possible? He felt that the attack just now had cost him a lot of vitality. He had only felt the yin and yang laws from Kuan Pengzi. It was so terrifying. He didn't expect Lin Xian to have it too. Lin Xian looked forward and shook his head. Ants were pitifully weak. Pooh! The Dragon Emperor spat out blood again. He didn't believe it. He took out his dragon spear and charged over again. At this moment, the illusion of a true dragon circled around him. It was the illusion of his bloodline. He used his bloodline to the extreme. Competing in weapons, Lin Xian took out the great spear of destruction. Demonic qi filled the air. He attacked aggressively as if he had turned into a demon god. The two collided, shaking heaven and earth. However, after 3 moves, the Dragon Prince was suppressed. He was sent flying and smashed into the void. To be honest, I can suppress you in all aspects. It seems that you don't have any surprises at all. Let's end it then. Lin Xian's eyes erupted with a terrifying aura. The Taiji diagram appeared again, turning into the Yin god and Yang god. He reached out his hand and grabbed the Dragon Emperor, wanting to tear him into pieces. Chapter 5164. The two silhouettes stood tall, like heavenly gods. The surrounding people were terrified when they saw this. What kind of mystical power was this? Kuan Pengzi's expression was also extremely solemn. Was the other party's yin-yang law already so terrifying? The Dragon Prince was grabbed by the yin-yang palm and felt a huge force tearing at him. He shouted angrily and tried his best to resist, but cracks appeared on his body. Damn it! His eyes were filled with killing intent. He wouldn't allow his body to shatter. A monstrous extreme Tao aura appeared and separated the yin-yang god. He stood above the 9 heavens, and his powerful aura swept across everything. Countless people were terrified. Was he going to use the 10,000 dragons picture? Lin Xian put away the Taiji diagram and sneered as he looked ahead. You've already lost. Young supreme beings relied on their own strength, but you actually used an extreme Tao weapon. What right do you have to be called a supreme being? Damn it! The Dragon Prince's black hair fluttered in the wind. He was so angry that he vomited blood. He felt that his Tao heart had cracked because he really couldn't accept this fact. No, Prince, calm your Tao heart. He's deliberately angering you. Those people from the 10,000 Dragons dynasty roared crazily. At the same time, they gritted their teeth. Damn kid, if you dare to destroy the prince's Tao heart again, I'll destroy your soul. Lin Xian laughed out loud. Did he need me to destroy his Tao heart? Wasn't what I said the truth? He's inferior to me. Lin Xian stood above the 9 heavens and looked down. If you're not convinced, you can attack. If you can't do it alone, I'll allow you to attack together. At this moment, Lin Xian was extremely powerful. Then he looked at the Dragon Prince and Kuan Pengzi and said, "The 2 of you can also join forces." As soon as he said this, everyone was in an uproar. Let the 2 imperial princes join forces? How powerful was this guy? He was too confident. Damn it! How dare he look down on me? The Dragon Emperor gritted his teeth and trembled in anger. Kuan Pengzi also said, "I don't need to join forces with anyone. I want to compete with you in the power of Yin and Yang." Yin and Yang aura surrounded his body. Black and white light shone in his eyes, piercing through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Sure, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian struck out with a palm, striking out with a Taiji diagram. He charged over, turning into a yin-yang god. The collision between the 2 was earth-shattering. After exchanging 3 moves, Kuan Pengzi was pushed back. Lin Wudi, I didn't expect you to be the first to become a great saint. This battle wasn't over yet. This was just a test. When I break through to become a great sage, I'll fight you again. After saying that, he flew into the distance and disappeared. He left. Countless people were stunned. They didn't expect Kuan Pengzi to leave just like that. The people of the Sky sect sighed. What else could they do but leave? The current Lin Xian was already above all the other geniuses. Even if they were to compete in strength, no one would be able to defeat the other. There was no point in staying here. Lin Xian looked at the Dragon Prince and asked, "Are you leaving too?" "I'll give you a chance to escape." Damn it. Prince Dragon gritted his teeth, but he didn't dare to do anything. He had even been afraid that Lin Xian would launch a sneak attack, so he had placed the 10,000 dragons diagram around him. Lin Xian snorted coldly. What a coward. He felt that he had done enough. He had already caused cracks to appear in the Dragon Prince's image. He didn't need to do anything else. His strength was the Dragon Prince's inner demon. The Dragon Prince would destroy his own Dao heart. He only needed to do one last thing. After saying that, he looked around at the spectators. It seemed like many experts and geniuses had come. Well, I'll announce to the world that I, Lin Wuti, will be the invincible great saint from now on. Anyone who dares to challenge me or the divine union will be killed without mercy. The cold voice resounded through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Everyone was shocked at this moment. The young geniuses were filled with despair. The invincible great saint was too terrifying. There was also Old Sun. At this moment, Sun Qitian also walked out. He had been silently watching the battle. Now he walked out and stood beside Lin Xian. His iron rod shook the sky and shattered the earth. Old Sun's name is Sun Qitian. From now on, I'll be the great saint, heaven's equal. With a roar, the 9 heavens and 10 earths shook. The aura of a great saint swept out from his body and shattered the earth. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Heavens! Another great saint had appeared? Sun Qitian had also broken through? Everyone was shocked. Previously, they had suspected that Sun Qitian was an emperor. Even if he wasn't, he had the strength of an emperor. If he had also broken through and become a great saint, wouldn't that mean that he was above the Dragon Prince and the others? Even Lin Xian was stunned. Monkey King had also broken through? Soon he smiled. Very well. Let's see what the Dragon Prince would do. When the Dragon Prince saw Lin Xian, who was known as the invincible great saint, he was already furious. Now that he saw Sun Qitian break through, he spat out a mouthful of blood and his body swayed. Why? Why could these 2 people break through, but not him? Could it be that he was weaker than these 2? He couldn't accept it. He roared at the sky as if he had gone mad. The mountains and the surrounding millions of miles were shattered. Prince, the people of the 10,000 Dragon Court have gone mad. Prince, please calm down. They are affecting your Dao heart. But it was useless. The Dragon Prince naturally knew that Lin Xian was using a psychological attack, but it couldn't suppress his anger at all. In the end, he fell from the sky. The people of the 10,000 Dragon Court rushed over and caught him. Let's go. They rushed into the sky and gritted their teeth. Lin Wuti, just you wait. I'll teach you a lesson any time. Lin Xian said calmly. Sun Qitian snorted coldly. Anyone who dares to go against Brother Lin is my enemy. Everyone was terrified. 2 great sages on the level of imperial princes were more than enough to crush anything in their path. Even a great saint would have to bow down in front of them. To subdue such people, one had to be at least a great saint. But such people were at the patriarch level even in the remote antiquity families. They wouldn't make a move unless they had no choice. After that, the battle ended, and everyone left one after another. However, the news had already spread. For a moment, the entire Yuanguang continent was shocked. The Dragon Prince was defeated and Kunping Zi was scared away. Heavens, the disciples of the 2 emperors ended up like this. Who did it? What? Lin Wuti returned. He didn't die. He became a great saint and swept away everything. Heavens, Lin Wuti broke through first. Countless people were shocked. This was an extremely incredible thing. What? Another monkey broke through to become a great saint? In an instant, the the invincible great saint, heaven's equal spread throughout the 9 heavens. When everyone heard about it, they were extremely envious. On the other side, the people of the 10,000 Dragon Court had cold expressions. They didn't expect that this time they would shoot themselves in the foot. The Dragon Prince was extremely depressed. He asked around for news, and finally one day he fainted from anger. He was the one who initiated this young paragon battle to create an opportunity for him to break through. But he lost and embarrassed himself. Everyone knew that he was defeated by Lin Xian. Chapter 5165. He had never been defeated in his life. However, he had suffered continuously at the hands of Lin Xian. His Tao heart had finally cracked. This caused his cultivation to stagnate. The aura on his body had also weakened. No, the people of the 1,000 Dragon Court had gone crazy. They had seen this scene before. Long Ao's heart had been shattered by Lin Xian, and he was like a cripple. Was the Dragon Prince going to repeat the same mistake? No, they wouldn't allow it. After killing Lin Wudi, they were prepared to send out experts. However, Lin Xian had already returned to the Tao. The ancestors of the Tao were alarmed. The barbarian god ancestor came out personally to protect him. At the same time, the Tao sect announced that if any ancestors dared to make a move on Lin Xian, the Tao sect would annihilate them. Damn it, they couldn't make a move. This guy was so careful that the people of the 1,000 Dragon Court didn't even have a chance to attack. The Dragon Prince's situation was getting more and more dangerous. How could this be? The Dragon Prince had been injured by the Tao and had finally recovered. Now his Tao heart was broken. He had to recover. The ancestors of the 1,000 Dragon Court had a discussion. They had to recover the Dragon Prince's Tao heart, even if they had to search for all the divine medicine in the world. In an instant, they quickly investigated the situation. On the other side, after Lin Xian and the others returned, the people of the Divine Union cheered. The Tao sect was also shocked. Although many of them supported the Dragon Prince, there were also people who supported Lin Xian. Now that Lin Xian had become an invincible great sage, these people were very excited. The Tao sect immediately held a banquet and invited everyone. They didn't even need to invite. The geniuses of the great sects and ancient families all came. The Nalan family's patriarch requested an audience. The Fire Dragon tribe's dragoness requested an audience. The Longevity Hall's hall master requested an audience. One voice after another was heard. These people were all here to visit Lin Xian. Although Lin Xian was only an early-stage great sage, his future was unparalleled. He might even become a great emperor. They had to be on good terms with such a person in advance. Uncle Bai and Susu were dumbfounded. They had only seen such a person come to visit them once. That time was the Tao sect's sacred assembly. An old ancestor of their Tao sect had come out, and these people were here to pay their respects. But now, these people were not here to pay respects to the ancestor, but to Lin Xian. For a young man to make countless experts bow their heads was enough to shock the world. Lin Xian stood with his hands clasped behind his back in the Divine Union, accepting their greetings calmly. In the world of martial arts, strength was respected. Although he was young, he definitely had the qualifications. Just the greeting alone had kept him busy for half a month. Half a month later, the number of people gradually decreased. Lin Xian also went into seclusion and did not see anyone else. Only a few core members were left behind to discuss the matter. At this moment, the arrival of a woman shocked countless people. Lin Xian was also surprised. "It's you. Why are you here?" The person who came was Yen Ruyu. She descended like a beautiful fairy. The people around the Divine Union were stunned. Murong Qingqing had already shocked them. Who would have thought that there would be such a beautiful person? Bai Susu glared at Lin Xian and smiled faintly. "You're really something." Lin Xian smiled bitterly and ignored the other party's sarcastic tone. Instead, he looked at Yen Ryu. "Why are you here?" Yen Ryu asked. "Why are you not allowing me to see you? Are you afraid that Murong Qingqing will be unhappy? How could that be?" Lin Xian smiled. "Come in quickly." He invited Yen Ryu in. Before long, Yi Wudao also arrived. Lin Xian also invited him in. Monkey did not leave. The few of them gathered together, making the people of the Divine Union excited. These were all top-notch geniuses. Lin Xian, Monkey, and Yi Wudao were all emperor-level powerhouses. However, the newcomer, Yen Ryu, was actually facing the three of them calmly. Everyone even felt a mysterious aura from her. Could it be that he was also a monarch's son? They were all stunned. "All right, you guys can go do your own things." Lin Xian brought these people to the secret room. The others could not enter. Bai Susu said, "Go do your own things." She knew that these people definitely had something important to discuss. Moreover, it must be very shocking. Inside the secret room, they sat down. Yen Ryu said, "I'm here to look for you. I think you're thinking the same thing as me." Lin Xian smiled. "What's the matter?" Yen Ryu said, "There's no need for the Dragon Prince to exist." Yi Wudao sucked in a breath of cold air. "Could it be that you're thinking about it?" He was really too shocked. Sun Qitian snorted coldly. "I, old Sun, have long been unhappy with him. Brother Lin, if you want to make a move on him, call me." Lin Xian said, "I do have such a plan. Previously, I only broke his Dao heart. However, it won't be easy to kill him. He has the 10,000 dragon diagram, an extreme weapon. Besides, even if I go all out, I won't be able to kill him. I know this too, which is why I came to look for you." Yen Ryu sighed. "What if the two of us join forces and use two extreme weapons? That might not be enough." Yi Wudao shook his head. "The consequences of killing the Dragon Prince are too great. You have to think about it carefully." Lin Xian said, "I only have half of the heaven-swallowing jar in my hand, but I still have the great dragon sword soul. It's enough to make up for the lack of combat strength. However, in order to fully revive these two items, the amount of energy required was simply too great." Sun Qitian said, "There's no need to fully recover. Even if the Dragon Prince has the 10,000 dragon diagram, he won't be able to fully recover. As long as we restrain the 10,000 dragon diagram and separate the Dragon Prince from it, it'll be easy for us to kill him." Yi Wudao sighed. However, he was afraid that it wouldn't be easy. Now that his Dao heart was injured, he wouldn't come out easily. Even if he came out, he would be surrounded by peerless experts. There were even patriarch-level figures. Even if you attack, it'll be difficult for you to fight against them. Lin Xian said, "If 2 isn't enough, what about 3? Yen Ryu was shocked when she heard this. She looked at Yi Wudao. "Your Yi family wants to make a move too?" Yi Wudao smiled bitterly. "I can't make this decision." Lin Xian said, "It's not the Yi family's weapon. Qingqing has returned to the Jade Pool. Maybe we can borrow the Desolate Tower." "It seems like you're prepared." Yen Ryu smiled. 3 extreme weapons can't kill him. "Okay, I've decided to make a move." Sun Qitian was very happy. Yi Wudao sighed. "Brother Lin, I'm afraid I can't help you this time, but I can provide you with the resources of 5 worlds." This was definitely a shocking amount of wealth. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. "Okay, then I won't be polite. I'll pay you back double in the future." He was indeed in urgent need of resources. Although Yi Wudao couldn't make a move, he could provide resources. At the same time, he could also give advice. He said that they had to think of a way to lure it out. The Dragon Prince's Dao heart was broken, so he had to find a way. However, he wouldn't be able to recover in a short time unless they found a heaven-defying treasure. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. "Okay, I'll let people spread the names of the invincible Great Sage and Great Sage equal to heaven. Create more legends to stimulate the Dragon Prince." It's impossible for him to recover his Tao heart. So, he can only come out to find treasures. When the time comes, we'll have a chance. Chapter 5166. I'll get the Black Sea Race to keep an eye on it. The Crimson Dragon said. Lin Xian said that's fine. We'll go back and discuss it. If there's anything that can restore the Tao heart, we'll spread the news. Next, they began to split up, mainly in two directions. First, they had to gather enough resources to activate the apex weapon. Second, they had to find treasures that could restore the Tao heart. At the same time, they had to keep an eye on the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty. Yi Wudao gave him 5 world cores. Lin Xian accepted them with a bitter smile, including the ones Yi Wudao had. He didn't have that many worlds. There were only 10 of them in total, and this small amount of worlds was only enough for an extreme grade weapon to fully awaken once. Thinking about it, he was really poor. Beside him, Bai Susu, Nail and Liang, and the others rolled their eyes. 10 worlds worth of resources, and he was still poor. If word of this got out, the great sages would vomit blood. However, the apex weapon was too extraordinary. The resources it used were too much. It was a completely different realm from the Great Sage realm. So, 10 worlds really wasn't enough. Bai Susu said, I'll go to my father and see how many world cores I can get. Right, go to the Patriarch. Also, go to the clans that are allied with us. In any case, they're on your side. Just borrow some resources now. They'll definitely give it to you. Lin Xian nodded. If he became a great emperor, the clans that supported him would receive endless benefits. So, Lin Xian wouldn't be polite to them. In the end, Bai Susu brought back 3 world cores. Lin Xian borrowed 3 from the savage wilderness patriarch. Then, he gave the clans that supported him 2 world stars each. In addition to what Lin Xian had before, he had a total of 30 worlds. It was barely enough. After all, other than the heaven-devouring crown and the great dragon Sword Soul, he only had enough. He also had Murong Qingqing's desolate tower. So, it was just barely enough. Finally, Murong Qingqing returned with the desolate tower and 10 world stars. A total of 40. Yan Ruyu could provide 20 of them. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Finally, it was done. This time he had to succeed. They had sacrificed too much to kill the Dragon Prince. Therefore, he had to get rid of the other party. The Crimson Dragon had returned from the Dragon Sea, and he had also brought 20 Crimson Dragons from the Dragon Sea. He said that Long Hai was still collecting. If there wasn't enough, he would continue. This time, even if he had to pay the price, he had to kill the other party. Lin Xian was delighted. With Long Hai's full support, their chances of success would increase greatly. Now that the problem of resources had been solved, all that was left was to wait for the right opportunity. While waiting and cultivating, the people outside were gathering information. On this day, Lin Xian frowned. This was because the heaven-devouring jar kept sending out messages that seemed to be calling for him. The sky-swallowing jar swallowed a dragon boat with many people inside. In order to keep his whereabouts a secret, he sealed these people. Now that he had injured the Dragon Prince, he could let these people go. With a flash, Lin Xian left the Divine Union and arrived at the edge of the path. He waved his hand and created a vortex. A dragon boat flew out of the vortex. Lin Xian said, I'll leave the dragon boat behind. You guys can leave. The people on the dragon boat heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you for not killing us, young master. They had been on tenterhooks for the past few days, thinking that Lin Xian would kill them. Now they could finally leave. Before they left, they said, Don't worry, young master. We won't tell anyone about what happened. Lin Xian didn't care. The Dragon Prince's Tao heart had been broken by him. Why would he care about the dragon boat? Those people left. Lin Xian stared at Fairy Yuing and said, Were you the one who kept sending me voice transmissions? Fairy Yuing was pale and nervous. She said, Lin Gongzi, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb you. It's just that I really have something urgent and can't delay any longer. You said it's a family matter, right? Go ahead. Lin Xian nodded and didn't think too much about it. Fairy Yuing said, Where is this place? Can you give me a map? Is Mount Eternal far away? Lin Xian was surprised. You want to go to Mount Eternal? That's a place of death. Can you enter? Fairy Yuing said, I naturally don't dare to go to the 3 mountains of Mount Eternal. I want to go to Mount Eternal. There's a place around it called the Graveyard of Stars. It's also very magical there. This time, I'm going there to get some spiritual herbs. The Graveyard of Stars? Lin Xian was surprised. Why haven't I heard of it? He had been to the area of Mount Eternal before, but he had never heard of such a place before. Fairy Yuing asked, Does young master have a map? Lin Xian waved his hand and took out a map of Mount Eternal and gave it to her. Fairy Yuing was delighted after seeing it. Yes, it's here. She pointed at a place. This is the Graveyard of Stars? Lin Xian was even more puzzled after seeing it. Isn't this Mount Eternal? It's considered a place in Mount Eternal, but it's not that scary. It won't take people's lives, but it's still very mysterious. According to our family's records, the Graveyard of Stars was formed by a star that fell from outer space. It just landed at the edge of Mount Eternal, so it formed such a strange terrain. After entering, one will fall into a deep sleep if there's danger. Then, one will be teleported out the next day. There's such a magical place. What treasures are there in the Graveyard of Stars? Some precious spiritual herbs. But there's a rumor. Fairy Yuing thought for a moment and said, This is an ancient rumor in our family. The Graveyard of Stars. It said that when a great emperor died, his bones fell from outer space and formed a strange place. This is also the reason why the power of Mount Eternal can't enter the Graveyard of Stars. It's even said that the Graveyard of Stars has the will of the earth. There's even a rumor that the aura of this great emperor after his death combined with the power of Mount Eternal to form a kind of fruit. Graveyard of Stars divine fruit. It's said that it can cure all injuries in the world. It's even said that it can cure injuries of the great Tao. Lin Xian was even more shocked after hearing this. If the divine fruit can cure injuries of the great Tao, can it cure a broken Tao heart? Fairy Yu said it should be able to. Anyway, as long as you're not dead, any injury can be cured. Of course, this is just a legend and we don't know. We're only going to the safer places in the Graveyard of Stars this time. As for the deeper places, we don't dare to go. I'll give this map to you. Thank you. Lin Xian laughed and turned to leave. Fairy Yu was stunned. Thank me for what? She was baffled. However, she shook her head, picked up the map, and quickly left. Lin Xian was incomparably happy. Although he didn't know if this legend was true, this news was definitely a life-saving straw for the 10,000 Dragons dynasty. It seems that the Graveyard of Stars is the place where the Dragon Prince fell. Sharp killing intent burst out from his eyes. Chapter 5167. Lin Xian returned and told Yan Ruyu and the others about this matter. They were overjoyed when they heard this. Great, they would spread this news to the 10,000 Dragon dynasty. Next, we can set up the plan. Should we go there first and set up the array formation in advance? The Crimson Dragon asked. Lin Xian shook his head when he heard that. No. It was said that the Graveyard of Stars was also related to the Great Emperor. Don't set up the array formation there rashly. Moreover, the 4 of us will be enough to kill the Dragon Prince. Ruse along, take the people of the Black Sea Dragon race and lie in ambush outside the Graveyard of Stars. If the people of the 10,000 Dragon dynasty come, you must stop them. All right, I understand. The Crimson Dragon nodded. Then, Lin Xian looked at Yi Wudao. He said, Wu Dao, you don't have to go to kill the Dragon Prince. Wait in the ancient city. Once we succeed, quickly inform our allies. Tell them to close the mountain gate and avoid danger. Don't worry, leave this matter to me. Yi Wu Dao nodded. This matter was also very important. If the Dragon Prince really died, the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty would go crazy. Who knew what the other party would do? Therefore, it was better to prepare in advance. Next was to release the news. The 10,000 Dragon Dynasty had been searching. However, they didn't have any news. This made the people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty very anxious. However, on this day a piece of news came. The Graveyard of Stars. What was this place? Some people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty were puzzled. However, the eyes of the patriarchs lit up. Around Mount Eternal. Ordinary people would think of it as a region of Mount Eternal. However, it had another name, the Graveyard of Stars. The patriarch sent news that there was a meteorite, divine fruit, in the nebula. If it could cure all injuries, would it be proud of its Tao heart? The patriarch of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty said. The name sounded very mysterious. Even if there is a glimmer of hope, we can't miss it. Hurry up and send people over. Take the meteorite, divine fruit. However, that person said that according to the information we found, the divine fruit can't leave the Graveyard of Stars. Otherwise, it will immediately turn to ashes. Therefore, if we want to obtain this thing, the Dragon Prince has to go personally. As soon as he said this, the Dragon Clan's ancestor frowned. An elder said, "It couldn't be a trap, right? They would lure the Dragon Prince out and then attack him." The others were also discussing spiritedly. The patriarch of the dragon race snorted coldly. So what if it was a trap? This time, we've mobilized a powerful force and an extreme weapon. Even if there are traps, what can they do to us? At that time, he could even kill the enemy. That's right, the others also nodded. Their dragon clan feared nothing. Hurry up and get ready. The old ancestor of the dragon race gave the order. The entire 10,000 Dragon Dynasty quickly moved. They brought enough resources and a large number of powerhouses. Even the Dragon Clan's great ancestor had to go there personally. In addition to him, 2 other progenitors were heading there too. The 3 old ancestors, the extreme grade weapon, and the other saints. They didn't believe that there was any power that could defeat them. Even if Lin Xian had set up a trap, they were still not afraid. No matter how strong Lin Xian was, wasn't he just a heaven-swallowing jar? They could definitely contend against the other party. As long as the Dragon Prince's Tao heart was restored, they would have hope. Mount Eternal, the Graveyard of Stars. It was very quiet here. On this day, a few figures flew over quickly and landed. They were the people of the Moon Shadow Clan. They had arrived outside the Graveyard of Stars. Their expressions became incomparably solemn. Although this place was magical and wouldn't fall under normal circumstances, they still had to be careful. Yu Xianzi reminded them. The others nodded. Their figures seemed to have turned into shadows and floated in. This time, they only searched for some spiritual herbs at the outermost area of the Graveyard of Stars. As for the inside, they didn't dare to enter at all. "Princess, that's great. We've already collected half of the spiritual herbs we need. I estimate that we'll be able to collect all of them in another 2 days." An expert of the Moon Shadow Clan said. Yu Xianzi also smiled after hearing that. Although this time, they had finally completed the clan's mission. Everyone rest. The group of people sat down and began to rest. However, at this moment, the void in the distance shattered and an incomparably vast amount of information rushed over. What was going on? In the Graveyard of Stars, the people of the Moon Shadow Clan suddenly raised their heads to look at the sky. Their expressions became frightened. Not to mention them, the nearby families and sects also raised their heads in fear. In the next moment, they saw a huge dragon flying over in the sky. It was too long, tens of thousands of miles long. It swept across the world. The void kept shattering. All the demonic beasts below prostrated on the ground. Even the saints were facing a great enemy. At this moment, they couldn't help but want to kneel down. How terrifying! It was the people of the 10,000 Dragon Court. In this area, the people of the Fire God Palace and the Hall of Longevity were also facing a great enemy. One by one, the Grand Elders looked into the distance. It's not an ordinary dragon. I can feel the power of a peak great sage. This is the peerless powerhouse of the 10,000 Dragon Court. What are they going to do? These sects were facing a great enemy. After all, the Dragon Prince was injured. Who knew what the nest of 10,000 dragons was going to do? The last time the Dragon Prince was injured, the spirit realm was directly destroyed. This time, was the 10,000 Dragon Court going to make a move again? Could it be that they were going for Mount Eternal? A Grand Elder of the Hall of Longevity frowned. The expressions of the others also changed. Mount Eternal, the forbidden land of death. Even a top great sage wouldn't dare to enter rashly. However, the 10,000 Dragon Court was an Emperor clan and had an extreme weapon. This time, for the sake of the Dragon Prince, they might really have to risk their lives to enter Mount Eternal. Should we go and take a look? Someone suggested. However, those elders said that no one was allowed to go and that they would seal the mountain gate. If an extreme weapon attacked with full strength, countless people would be turned into ashes. They didn't dare to. The Hall Master of the Hall of Longevity felt that it was inappropriate to seal the mountain gate, so he sent a group of elders and talented disciples away. After the 10,000 Dragon Court left, it wouldn't be too late to let them come back. It wasn't just the Hall of Longevity. The other families and sects were the same. For a moment, this area was terrifyingly quiet. In the Graveyard of Stars, Yu Ying and the others were so scared that they knelt on the ground. There was a godlike will on it that made them unable to resist. What kind of existence was this? In the next moment, they saw countless figures standing on the giant dragon. The giant dragon arrived above the nebula. It was the people of the dragon race. The people of the Moonshadow clan felt their scalps go numb. They knew that it was most likely the 10,000 Dragon Court. That's right, it was the people of the 10,000 Dragon Court. At the front were 3 peak great sages, and there were many other great sages around them. In the middle, there was a throne. Sitting on the throne was a young man. His face was pale and filled with pain. It was the Dragon Prince. Chapter 5168. Prince, don't worry. We've already arrived at the Graveyard of Stars. Once we obtain the divine fruit, your Tao heart will recover. Lin Xian, I won't let him off. The Dragon Prince's eyes were filled with killing intent. Then he coughed up 2 more mouthfuls of blood. The expressions of the others changed drastically. Quickly, they took out their medicinal pills. They were so anxious that their foreheads were covered in sweat. There were a few ants below. Should they ask them? A dragon race powerhouse lowered his head and looked down. In front of them, an ancestor said, "There was no need." What did they know? There was no need to pay attention to them. They really didn't have the mood to pay attention to a few ants. These people majestically set off towards the depths of the spiritual land. Yu Ying and the others were still nervous. If the people above wanted to kill them, they could do it with a single glance. Fortunately, they were ignored, which made them heave a sigh of relief. At the same time, they felt a trace of sorrow in their hearts. They were also the genius powerhouses of a large family. However, in front of such a lineup, they were really like air. They had to leave quickly. Yu Xianzi led the others and quickly left the Graveyard of Stars. Although they hadn't finished collecting the spiritual herbs, they didn't dare to come again. Endless starlight flickered in the Graveyard of Stars. Legend had it that this was a strange place formed by the descent of the stars in outer space. It contained a mysterious power that blocked the aura of Mount Eternal. forming a unique area. Even so, the people of the 10,000 Dragon Court didn't dare to be careless. The three ancestors looked into the distance as if they could see through heaven and earth. However, their gazes were blocked by the starlight in front of them. They couldn't see through it. They frowned slightly. It didn't matter. One of the ancestors said coldly they had found the graveyard of stars. Even if they had to turn the place upside down, they had to find the fallen star, divine medicine, outside the graveyard of stars. The Crimson Dragon led the powerhouses of the Xian Ocean clan to guard the various passageways they had already entered. A great battle would probably break out soon. Our mission is to intercept the other reinforcements of the 10,000 Dragon Court. Let's wait for the signal. The Crimson Dragon and the others were here, but the ancestor and patriarch of the Xian Ocean clan were with Lin Xian and the others. They were going to attack the 10,000 Dragon Court together. In the graveyard of stars, the people of the 10,000 Dragon dynasty started a crazy search. They didn't let go of any place. In fact, some of the more dangerous places were also opened up by the patriarchs, sweeping through everything. However, at that moment, a sneer was heard. "Stop looking, you won't be able to find it." Hearing this, the people from the 10,000 Dragon dynasty stopped and their expressions changed. Damn it, it was a trap. Protect the prince. Those elders roared crazily. These people no longer searched, but instead quickly returned. They circled around the Dragon Prince. The three peak great saints also roared furiously and broke through the void. "Who is it? Get out here. You actually dared to set up a trap to harm our 10,000 Dragon dynasty. You must be tired of living." "It's me." Lin Xian also shattered the void and stood above the 9 heavens. "Martial Dragon, do you still want to recover your Tao heart?" "That's impossible. I won't give you the chance." "Damn brat, it's you." The Dragon Prince stood up with a murderous look in his eyes. He was so angry that his whole body trembled and he vomited blood. "Lin Wudi, do you want to die?" The Dragon Race elders also roared crazily. The three patriarchs pierced through heaven and earth. "You're that Lin Wudi? How dare you behave so atrociously here? Die!" One of the patriarchs suddenly reached out a huge hand, and a monstrous dragon claw covered the sky and earth. That was the power of a peak great saint. It was terrifying to the extreme. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. With his own strength, he naturally couldn't resist. Was that the peak of a great saint? As expected, he was strong enough. Who knew when he would be able to reach this step? Although the power was terrifying, Lin Xian didn't retreat at all. This time he didn't come alone. As expected, the void behind him split open, and a resplendent light appeared. Another dragon claw covered the sky and earth and collided with the dragon claw in front of him. The two collided, and the sound of the great Tao erupted and swept through the 9 heavens. Don't you think it's too embarrassing for a patriarch to attack a young genius? A cold snort came from behind Lin Xian. Then, another Dragon Race expert appeared. His aura was monstrous, and he was also a peak great saint. "It's you, Black Sea Dragon Race. How dare you go against the 10,000 Dragon Court? Do you want to be wiped out?" The people of the 10,000 Dragon Court went crazy. Although they were all dragons, the 10,000 Dragon Court had a great emperor who commanded the dragons. The Black Sea Dragon Race was their subordinate. Now, the other party dared to attack them. "So what if we attack you?" The Black Sea Dragon Race patriarch walked out. When the Dragon Prince killed Long Guang, did he think of this scene? Today, a debt of blood must be paid with blood. The Black Sea Dragon Race experts appeared. They suppressed heaven and earth. The expressions of the people of the 10,000 Dragon Court changed. Then they laughed coldly. "Lin Xian, is this your trump card? Do you think you can kill us with the Black Sea Dragon Race and your sky-devouring crown? Too naive." The patriarchs of the 10,000 Dragon Court shouted coldly. They waved their arms, and the 10,000 dragon picture appeared in the sky. An extremely terrifying extreme Dao aura swept in all directions. Facing Lin Xian and the others, the 10,000 dragon court seemed to want to kill them in one strike. Therefore, they used an extreme Dao weapon right from the start. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He also appeared on his side. The sky-devouring jar floated between heaven and earth. An endless black hole devoured the extreme Dao power. The weapons confronted each other. However, the sky-devouring jar seemed to be gradually suppressed. It was useless. Half an extreme Dao weapon seemed to be no different in the hands of a young man. But in a true peerless battle, you would be completely suppressed. Today is the day you die. The three patriarchs of the 10,000 dragon court attacked together. The 10,000 dragon picture released the extreme Dao power and countless dragon shadows pressed down. The sky-devouring jar was gradually suppressed. Ha ha ha! What do you have to fight us? The people of the 10,000 dragon court laughed smugly. After killing you, the sky-devouring jar will be ours. The dragon prince's eyes shone with a terrifying light. Not only do I want the sky-devouring jar, but I also want his life. I want all of his secret techniques. Buzz! He let out a terrifying dragon roar. A dragon roar also came from Lin Xian's body. Then, sword energy surged into the sky and blocked the thousands of dragon shadows. A dragon-shaped sword energy appeared in front of him, releasing a terrifying aura. This caused the expressions of the people of the 10,000 dragon court to change because the aura of this dragon shadow was too terrifying. The great dragon sword. Their eyes shone with a terrifying light. Humph! This belongs to the 10,000 dragon court. It belongs to the dragon prince. You don't deserve to have it. How dare you say such words? Lin Xian was cold. Behind him, the powerhouses of the Black Sea's dragon race provided power. The great dragon sword soul erupted and slashed through heaven and earth. The 10,000 dragon picture stopped descending. It was blocked. Damn it! The great dragon sword and half of the sky-devouring crown. Is this your final trump card? But it can't do anything to us. At most, it will be a draw. Besides, do you have enough strength to fully recover? Chapter 5169. The 10,000 dragon court wasn't afraid. Even if they couldn't kill the other party, they could still retreat. However, Lin Xian smiled. A draw? You are too naive. Do you think I planned all this just to draw with you? We are here to kill the dragon prince, so he will definitely die. Just you? The dragon prince trembled in anger. You don't have the right. The 10,000 dragon court's old ancestor scoffed coldly. Kid, stop trying to be mysterious. Show me all your trump cards. I want to see how you are going to kill the dragon prince today. Lin Xian waved his hand and said loudly, Everyone come out. Let them see our lineup today. Beside Lin Xian, 3 streaks of space shattered. A monkey holding an iron rod walked over. 7-colored light surrounded Murong Qingqing. She looked like a fairy descending from the heavens. Her white robe was as white as snow, and her expression was cold as she walked out. They were split up into 3 groups. 3 young people? The 10,000 dragon court frowned. An elder said that the monkey was an imperial prince, so the other 2 should be imperial princes too. The 10,000 dragon court's old ancestor laughed coldly. You're really stupid. Don't tell me you think that the 3 of them can do anything in this kind of battle? Qingcheng, Ruyu, they are underestimating you. Show them some strength. Lin Xian smiled. Yan Ruyu scoffed coldly. 10,000 dragon court. You shouldn't have destroyed Spirit Realm. You have committed a crime that deserves death. You want to stand up for Spirit Realm? Who are you? A survivor of Spirit Realm? Humph, what a joke. The 10,000 dragon court's old ancestor scoffed coldly. Yen Ryu's expression turned cold. I am not from spirit realm, but our ancestors received help from spirit realm. So this time, I am here to take revenge for spirit realm. She formed a hand seal, and a green lotus appeared behind her. It swayed gently and shattered the sky. A terrifying extreme Tao aura spread out. The 10,000 Dragon Court's people were disdainful at first, but when they felt this aura, their expressions changed. They felt a chill down their spines. An elder exclaimed, "Extreme Tao aura." The 3 ancestral patriarchs narrowed their eyes. You're the descendant of Emperor Qing? With the green lotus behind him and his connection to spirit realm, they immediately thought of a great emperor, Emperor Qing. Back then, spirit realm had indeed helped them. When they had attacked spirit realm, the descendants of Emperor Qing had appeared and saved a group of people. Who would have thought that it would be the woman before him? Their expressions became ugly. If it was just Lin Xian, they wouldn't be worried. The sword in Lin Xian's hand was only the great dragon's sword soul. The heaven-devouring jar was also half a 10,000 dragons diagram, and the 2 added together were equivalent to 1. Therefore, they could easily leave. But things were different now. They actually had another extreme weapon. This way they would be suppressed. Morong Qingqing also sighed. Go to hell and repent for your sins. With a wave of her hand, an ancient pagoda appeared and spun between heaven and earth. Similarly, the might of the extreme Tao appeared. This time the 10,000 Dragon Dynasties people all went crazy. Another extreme weapon. Damn it, who is this woman? One of the ancestors of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty gritted his teeth. The desolate tower. Damn it, what does this have to do with the jade pool? They all went crazy. To be honest, they never thought that Lin Xian could summon 3 extreme weapons. Even the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty couldn't do it. Let's go. The 3 ancestors roared and rushed into the sky with the Dragon Prince and the others. There was no way to fight now. They were absolutely at a disadvantage. Wanna leave? Lin Xian snorted. Give me power. The ancestors of the Black Sea Dragon race behind him quickly poured their power into the heaven-devouring jar. Then, the heaven-devouring jar erupted with power, forming an endless vortex that swallowed the world. Get lost. The 10,000 Dragon Dynasty roared, and the 10,000 Dragons diagram tore apart countless black holes. However, at this moment, a dragon roar sounded, and sword energy slashed over, colliding with the 10,000 Dragons diagram. The 2 collided, shaking heaven and earth. Damn it, the 10,000 Dragons diagram was blocked. They fled in another direction. However, they were destined to not be able to escape. This time, they had brought the power to kill. Yen Ryu formed a seal with his palms, and he used several world cores without holding back. The green lotus swayed and turned into thousands of illusory green lotuses that covered the sky and earth, cutting off the mountains and rivers. The desolate tower suppressed the world. The people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty were completely surrounded. What should they do? Those elders were on the verge of tears. Facing such a situation, there seemed to be no other way. The Dragon Prince's face was pale. Damn it, in order to kill him, the other party didn't set up such an inescapable trap. 3 extreme weapons, this was unimaginable. Lin Wudi, the descendant of the Qing Emperor. Jade Pool, when I recover, I will definitely not let you off. How dare you threaten me? Yen Ryu snorted coldly. Do you think you can still escape? The Dragon Prince's pupils constricted. He roared angrily. Revive the 10,000 Dragons diagram with all your strength. Don't worry, they definitely won't be able to hurt you today. The 3 ancestors roared, and an extremely terrifying light erupted from their eyes. Go all out. Revive the 10,000 Dragons diagram. The 10,000 Dragons diagram bloomed with light and swept across heaven and earth. At this moment, 10,000 dragons roared. Heaven and earth shattered, and the entire power of the fallen stars shook violently. Mount Eternal also erupted with a terrifying, indestructible aura. All the powerhouses and families in the area sensed it. They looked at the sky in the distance with incomparable fear. It erupted. The 10,000 dragons diagram was fully revived. It seemed that they were going to attack Mount Eternal. The 10,000 dragon dynasty was really crazy. These families were terrified. When the spirit realm was destroyed, they only felt it from a distant area. They didn't expect that it was going to launch an extreme attack near them. Humph. Do you think you're the only one who knows how to fully revive? Yenryu snorted coldly. She poured all the world cores she had obtained into the green lotus and fully revived it. With an angry roar, the green lotus bloomed with light and seemed to transform into a human figure wearing a green robe, looking down on the world. It was the Lotus Emperor's illusion. The green lotus swayed like a divine artifact of the celestial world, sweeping across heaven and earth. Countless dragon figures were swept away, and a terrifying and vast aura erupted. Outside, the powerhouses of the families and sects felt this scene, and their pupils constricted. What was going on? A second extreme aura. Heavens, there was an extreme weapon. The 10,000 dragon dynasty actually brought 2 extreme weapons. Impossible. They were all crazy. The Crimson Dragon was also shocked. They had started fighting. Was the final battle about to begin? In the graveyard of stars. It shook violently and countless stars were destroyed. Fortunately, this place also belonged to Mount Eternal, and it had a terrifying and mysterious aura. Otherwise, this attack would have turned heaven and earth upside down. But even so, the area outside of Mount Eternal had collapsed and turned into dust. It didn't exist in vain. Some small families and sects were instantly reduced to ashes. Those top ancient families and peerless sects had long sealed their mountains and activated peerless arrays. But even so, it still shook their blood and made them spit out large mouthfuls of blood. This was just the aftershock. Just how terrifying was the destructive strike at the center of it all. No wonder Spirit Realm was reduced to ashes by this attack. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.